On Wednesday, the high near 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
66 at O'Hare, 69 along the lakefront, 70 at Midway, and your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
As a former congressman and the ranking member on the Judiciary Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives, Doug Collins knows what it means to fight for what he believes. And on every episode of the Doug Collins podcast, he'll explore all topics, from politics to life advice, and blend them together for a well-rounded discussion that you can use to get the most out of your life. The Doug Collins Podcast. Subscribe today on Apple, Google, Spotify, and at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Salerno's Pizza and Pasta has been feeding families in the Chicagoland area since 1966. We feature some of the tastiest homemade ravioli, lasagna, meatballs, and let's not forget about the legendary Salerno's Traditional Crust Pizza. Stop by our flagship store in Oak Park and make new memories in our dining room with your kids, grandkids, or old friends. And our banquet room is perfect for your family's events or business luncheons. If you don't have time to stop by and sit down, use our easy phone or online ordering systems. Choose carryout or delivery with our own speedy in-house delivery team. No third-party delivery services and outrageous fees. Order direct. Support local small business. Salerno's Pizza is still family-owned and operated. We give you unrivaled customer service and delicious quality meals and cater any size event. We're open for lunch and dinner. Stop by our locations in Oak Park, Chicago, Lyons, and Bolingbrook. Call Oak Park now at 708-383-1500 or visit us online at salernospizza.com for more info.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It will be the summer of joy in Chicago.
Instead, the trio of Pritzker, Lightfoot, and Fox have made this another summer of murder, mayhem, and chaos.
My granddaughter FaceTimed us saying, "Help me, Daddy's shot." And then they threw over him and they executed him in front of her. And then they shot at her.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker, the lawlessness of Chicago will soon be the law statewide. Pritzker's so-called Safety Act makes Illinois a safe haven for violent criminals. That's why 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys oppose Pritzker's mandatory release of alleged murderers, kidnappers, and arsonists. Prosecutors like Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow.
It's going to be literally the end of days.
And prosecutors like DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin.
We are going to have violent criminals out on the street.
Stop Chicago violence from coming to your town. Vote no on J.B. Pritzker. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Hi, I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. The current COVID pandemic has been a challenge for all of us, and many businesses struggled and experienced financial distress. Businesses are focused on recovering now, and fortunately, several government programs are available to ease this process. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC, an incentive program designed to bolster businesses that were able to retain their employees during the COVID pandemic. Companies may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee if they qualify, and they may be eligible even if they previously participated in the Payroll Protection Program, or PPP. Most importantly, this is not a loan. No repayment is required. Billions of dollars are still available, yet many companies are underutilizing this credit due to IRS changes on eligibility. Our dedicated ERC team can help to discover if your business is eligible, determine the amount, and assist with the filing of the credit. Contact me directly to learn more at 630-524-5274 or online at pkfmueller.com.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Hope everybody had a lovely, restful Labor Day weekend. We begin where things left off last week with Joe Biden's Darth Sidious speech from Thursday night, in which he cast out MAGA Republicans from civil society, essentially. You recall.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. You can't love your country only when you win.
Well, I'll start by ceding my time to New American. Just a regular dude, plays by the rules, like most of our listeners do. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. New American just posted a response to the president, and we'll also play a response, or part of a response, from Michigan State political philosophy professor Bill Allen, who we've had on the show before. And it's very interesting because regular guy who immigrated to this country and followed all the rules, and learned academic sound really quite similar to one another. But first, our friend who played by the rules to become an American.
My name is Alma Oheniopare. I'm a person of faith, a husband of 16 years, and a father of 4 wonderful children. I am also an immigrant to the United States of America. I came here at the age of 19, full of hope, optimism, and a willingness to do what was necessary to achieve the American dream. After 18 years of waiting and hoping, I was finally granted the privilege of becoming an American citizen in 2021. Today, I am a proud American, a law-abiding patriot, and a man willing to defend the principles and values that made America great and brought people like me here. Mr. President, I am also a conservative Republican, or what you have recently labeled a MAGA Republican. Over the last few days, you have looked into the camera and called me and millions of other people like me extremists. You have told me and my children that we don't matter to you because of our beliefs. Your spokespeople and the media have labeled us dangerous, full of hate, and a threat to democracy. You went as far as to suggest that we would not stand a chance against the government's F-15s in defending our country from tyranny. Your party leaders have taken your cue and called us terrorists, and all this without taking any time to acknowledge our humanity, listen to our concerns, or seek to understand our fears. I was born in a country where my rights were not always guaranteed, and to hear the President of America and the leader of the free world dismiss more than 70 million of his own countrymen as fringe and extreme and not worth listening to breaks my heart and makes me wonder what I should tell my children about the future of this once great shining city on a hill.
So So what should he tell him?
Yeah, what should he tell him? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. What he should tell him is that the kids right now at this age need to get politically active. And they have to fight for this country. Because Biden, he can't walk this back. He tried to walk it back on Friday.
He didn't.
Oh, with Peter Doocy?
No, he
He
didn't.
blamed conservative media. Just listen. When Peter Doocy asked him about it.
Not a walk back.
Trump supporters to be a threat to the country. Yo, everyone,
Come on, look, guys. You keep trying to make that case. I don't consider.
You keep trying to make that case? He's walking away.
Anyone who calls for the use of violence fails to condemn violence when it's used, refuses to acknowledge when an election has been won, insists upon changing the way in which the rule you count votes. That is a threat to democracy. Democracy. And everything we stand for rests on the platform of democracy.
You don't think that was him trying to walk it back?
It's absolutely not him trying to walk it back.
What about yesterday? 22 cents. What about this in Milwaukee yesterday?
Not every Republican is a MAGA Republican. Not every Republican embraces that extreme ideology. I know because I've been able to work with mainstream Republicans my whole career. But the extreme MAGA Republicans in Congress have chosen to go backwards, full of anger, violence, hate, and division. But together, we can and we must choose a different path.
No.
That's not walking it back. It's a complete misunderstanding of what he's doing. He's not very good at it because he's just not very bright. But this is 101 stuff in terms of how the left operates. Something else, too. I heard a lot of he tried to walk it back. I heard also, including from some on our side, so to speak, other talk show hosts. I saw something on Fox, too. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Don't take Biden's bait and respond with violence. Really? I'm sorry.
Respond with violence.
I'm sorry. Who are you talking to? Starting from the left's premise to remind me to behave like a civilized human being in the face of rhetoric that is completely unsurprising, that we actually have heard before many times, maybe not with all the theatrics, the lighting, and so forth.
God, it was awful.
But what is surprising about any of this? Anybody who would say, don't take the bait, understands nothing about the left and, frankly, nothing about the right. Don't take the bait. Don't respond with violence. We don't advocate responding with violence. To rhetoric? To political rhetoric? No. And you completely misunderstand the left because everything the left does is predicated on violence. So you know the source of the violence and from where violence will come, and then you have to think properly about how to respond to it when it does. And that's largely at the ballot box. Unless it comes to your front doorstep. So, yeah. So that's on the taking the bait. Let me just a quick on that. We can go deeper into it if you want. On the walking anything back in, what's he saying after what he said on Thursday? And what he said before? Why is this new to people? It's not new.
Well, I think Thursday's hate speech was...
Do we have no institutional memory? He said this from the beginning. We talked about this the day after January 6th. All 73 million people who voted for Trump are going to be characterized as insurrectionists. And we're a year and a half later, and you're surprised when you're characterized as an insurrectionist?
A threat to democracy, a threat to the United States.
They say it
and anyone who
every
voted for Trump is a MAGA
single
Republican.
day. They say it every single day. I don't understand the surprise. I don't understand why this hasn't resonated until he went full Darth Sidious. And I mean that, like, there's an analog. Like, when Palpatine speaks to Anakin and he says, "Only through me can you have power." That's what you heard. Biden's overture after the fact to non-MAGA Republicans.
Whatever that even means. I don't even know what that means.
The overture is this: you've sinned. Repent and salvation will be found in the house of divine government. That's not walking it back. That's saying, come to the dark side and you'll be embraced. Philip in Blue Island.
Good morning. Isn't there a difference? I mean, I thought he mentioned a difference between MAGA and just regular Republicans, just for a name like Bill Barr and other Republicans who simply see what's going on. What happened January 6th, those are the MAGAs. Now, we're not saying 70 million, I don't think he was, because I think he said that all of them are not MAGA. So I don't understand how you come into the conclusion
No, anyone who voted for Trump is a MAGA Republican. What does it even mean to be a MAGA Republican?
Thanks for the call, Philip.
Make
Appreciate
America
that.
great, a Republican? Don't all Republicans want to make America great?
Let's just, so I don't, yeah, right. It's so
Stupid.
confusing where we get this idea that he's speaking to all Trump voters.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
So it's a nice effort, Philip, but he didn't say the 500 people who broke the law on January 6th. He said MAGA Republicans. He's saying Trump supporters. And it could be Trump voter. It can be the reluctant Trump voter who voted for Trump in November of 2020 because they knew better than to support Biden, but they're not some Trump devotee. But it doesn't matter. You're all thrown together. And for those who feel uncomfortable, you've sinned, repent, and you shall find salvation in the house of divine government. That's the value. That's the offer. Got it? Chuck in Delavan.
Yeah, I liked how he had them 2 Marines back there. The time when they were unloading the 13 Marines that came back from overseas, he looked at his watch every minute. Every time they unloaded a Marine, he looked at his watch because he thought he was going to miss footing time. But the thing was that he turned around and he brings these Marines out, and mom and dad, or he went to Jacob Blake up here in Kenosha's mom and dad. He didn't look at his.
Sorry, Chuck, you're cutting out. Sorry. Thanks for the call. Lance Morrow, writing in the Wall Street Journal about the speech. Good column. Lance Morrow, no fan of Trump. No fan of Trump. Mr. Trump and his followers, believe it or not, are essentially anti-fascist. They want the state to stand aside, to impose the least possible interference and allow market forces and entrepreneurial energies to work. Freedom isn't fascism. Mr. Biden and his vast tribe are essentially enemies of freedom, although most of them haven't thought the matter through. Freedom, the essential American value, isn't on their minds. They desire maximum, that is, total, state or party control of all aspects of American life, including what people say and think. The left yearns for power and authoritarian order. It is Faust's bargain. Freedom is forfeit. Morrow has it right. He's got it right, even if I don't agree with all of his criticisms of Trump, and there are many and varied. Not a fan, but he has the game that's being run by the left dead to rights.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 5:38, one Lakeview woman scream that speaks to our summer of joy here in Chicago.
And President Trump's first rally since the raid. We learn more about what happened at Mar-a-Lago. But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
66 degrees at 5:32. The Department of Justice still looking over a federal judge's decision to appoint a special master to review documents seized from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida home. Republican Congressman James Comer.
Clearly, they took way too many documents. They've already admitted that there were, a certain number of documents that may have been classified. What they took significantly outnumbered what they said was classified.
The DOJ says the department will consider appropriate next steps in ongoing litigation. President Biden cheering American workers, highlighting union gains at the expense of middle-income Americans.
Wall Street didn't build America. The middle class built America, and unions built the middle class.
Ahead of November's midterms, Biden went to steelworkers in Pennsylvania. Outgoing British Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying farewell.
Well, this is it, folks. Thank you, everybody, for coming out so early this morning.
Johnson speaking outside 10 Downing Street after Liz Truss was selected as his successor.
Boris, you got Brexit done. You crushed Jeremy Corbyn. You rolled out the vaccine, and you stood up to Vladimir Putin. You were admired from Kiev to Carlisle.
Truss takes office facing a cost of living crisis and inflation in the UK. Dangerous heat waves sizzling the western U.S., getting worse in California. Residents of Jackson, Mississippi, still unable to drink that city's water, according to Governor Tate Reeves. One of two men suspected in stabbing attacks that killed 10 in Canada is now dead. Police in Saskatchewan say the body of Damian Sanderson was found on Monday. His brother Miles is still at large. More details expected after police in Tennessee discovered a body near where a female jogger disappeared last week. Authorities made that announcement but refused to confirm an identity of a missing attorney. R. Kelly's federal trial in Chicago on hold. The Dirksen Federal Building will be closed today due to an operational issue. The death of a 2-month-old in Monee being ruled a homicide. Police say first responders were called out August 31st to an infant who was not breathing at a truck stop at Manhattan Monee Road. Chicago Alderwoman Susan Garza retiring at the end of her term. Her announcement comes after a number of other city council members have decided not to seek re-election next February. White Sox took down Seattle 3-2. Cubs begin a series against the Reds at Wrigley. And the Sky will try to stamp their ticket to the WNBA Finals tonight. The news is service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets are on sale now for Freedom Summit 2022, presented by Matrix Home Solutions, coming to the West and Chicago Northwest and Itasca on Saturday, November 5th. This year's lineup features Larry Elder, Brandon Tatum, Alex Berenson, Jenna Ellis, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets for this event sell out every year, so don't wait. Get yours today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Total Clarity Wealth Management and by Lil's Dietary Shop.
Jobs in engineering are available now. Automated Systems, Inc., a dynamic project-oriented consulting company, is currently hiring technical professionals for mission-critical roles in support of life-saving therapies for the pharmaceutical, biotech, and medical device industries. Open positions for the following roles are wanted now: validation engineers, controls engineers, quality assurance professionals, technical writers, project managers, and process engineers. Ready to apply your knowledge and expertise? Consider these great opportunities. Automated Systems, Inc. values deep expertise from experienced professionals to support a growing company. They'll challenge you to think differently in order to achieve your goals, and you'll have easy access to senior management, thoughtful leaders, and inspiring colleagues. ASI has been servicing the life sciences for over 30 years. For jobs available now in process engineering or testing, call Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit the Careers tab at hireasi.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or online at hireasi.com.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen? That'll save space in your cabinet? To learn more, visit simplegreen.com.
538, quick check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock all day, every day. Listen now. danamy247.com. Edens and Kennedy are off on time. Ike at 24 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 25 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan right now at 12 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A morning shower, otherwise warmer with clouds breaking, high 79. Currently 66. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, statistics don't persuade, clearly. They don't move people. It takes, unfortunately, sometimes a harrowing incident to get people's attention and maybe to get them to think about what can be done to change an environment where barbarism is occurring. We've tried with kids being murdered in the streets, Chicago.
Yeah, 5-year-old shot in the head, died last week.
That hasn't seemed to work.
No.
The stories where we focus in on one kid, I mean, you can remember some of the names as well as I can, and that at least generates some dialogue for some finite period of time, but it doesn't seem to galvanize people to make different choices when it comes to the leadership of the city of Chicago. Well, we'll try again, because what else can we do? Lakeview, 45-year-old woman walking in the 2900 block of North Sealy just before 3 p.m. over the weekend.
Beautiful sunny day.
And 3 men wearing hoodies and masks jumped out of a car after seeing her walking on the sidewalk, jumped out of her car and attacked her.
They took her fanny pack, which had her keys, phone, wallet in there.
And just listen.
It's horrible.
As she's attacked. Just listen and think of this, I hope, and turn those within your circles of influence onto this. I want you to think about this when you think about quality of life in Chicago. Because this woman wasn't, thankfully, murdered.
Because he pulled a gun out.
She was not otherwise injured. But you listen to what happened over the course of a minute and think about your wife or your sister or, in these days, your grandmother and the sort of lasting trauma that this woman will live with for the rest of her life.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. You can hear them. They pushed her to the ground. One brandished a gun to her head. And you can hear her say, "What do you want, my phone?" And then, the sheer terror in her voice. And then her thinking police, saying, "Police, police, police," because she didn't know what else to do. She was in shock. And this woman, Dan, will never, ever be the same. And this happened 30 feet away from a Cook County Circuit Court judge's home.
This will be registered on the stat sheet as a robbery. She lost her wallet, keys, phone. That's it. Just a robbery in Lakeview. What's the big deal?
Yeah, no one's in custody as of this morning. We just checked again.
So what's the big deal? It's just a robbery. That's going to happen in a big city.
She has some abrasions, I was told, from being pushed down.
And maybe if you listen to that, if you watch it and listen to that, maybe it will register in a place that it hasn't registered before for some people who are inured to it, who want to look away. Maybe. I don't know. But I've told these stories before. You see it when you have weird stuff happen in the popular upscale neighborhoods of Chicago, and somebody is acting like an arse or worse. There's violence or the threat of violence imminent that's happening like right before you, and you see it. And you see the terror on people's faces as they're scurrying by, trying to get out of get out of the way of whatever's about to come. And this is exactly what they're afraid of. And so then the question becomes, do you want to live in a city like that? And if you don't, then what are you going to do about it? Because clearly the majority of Chicago residents haven't been convinced. I mean, they don't have high marks. They don't give Lori Lightfoot particularly high marks. I'm sure they don't give the city council in the aggregate particularly high marks. But what's the offer that's being made? By Lightfoot, by the other politicians, most of them, maybe with the exception of Alice. What's the offer being made? I mean, if you just here again, we can talk round and round and round about it, but it's a simple proposition. If you're unwilling to take people out of office who've demonstrated they cannot provide the basics government promises to provide, starting with physical safety, then I don't know what to tell you. There's just no way to work around that. There's no way to work around the lawlessness in Chicago and Cook County and coming to the rest of the state. If you haven't heard, if you've been checked out during the summer doldrums, coming to the rest of the state under no cash bail for violent offenses like this one. If those guys are caught,
they'd be released right away.
Boom, they're out.
Yeah. And they know what's coming. They're not stupid. And I hope to God that Mayor Lightfoot saw this video. I don't know if it'll do anything, but that could have been her. That could have been any one of us just walking down the street. You know what my cop friend said? Well, that's why you should get a dog. That's not a solution. That if she was walking a dog, there was less chance of her getting attacked. I mean, and who knows? So I followed up because I wanted to know, well, how long did it take police to arrive? And, did she require medical attention? And then they said she had a few abrasions. And I'm still waiting on the answer of how long it took for police to arrive. But thank God they have the Ring camera to show people this is what's really going on in the city of Chicago.
Right. She wasn't beaten. She wasn't raped. She wasn't
shot.
Killed. She wasn't killed. She wasn't shot. There's no, but again, her life has now changed for the foreseeable future, I suspect.
Yeah.
And so, again, for people who struggle to put themselves in the shoes of neighborhoods they've never been to, what about Lakeview? What about Old Town? What about the Gold Coast? And I'm not saying that it's okay that you can't put yourselves in the shoes of families that are beset by violent crime every single day in places like Inglewood or Austin or Lawndale, but you think you can walk around and be oblivious to what you've unleashed and it won't be visited upon you. And then it's visited upon you and what the heck has happened to the city? Okay, Well, now you know. So what are you going to do? Michael, Southside.
Amy, thank you for taking my call. I saw the video and was rather horrified. It reminded me of one of those trials of life videos where you have this pack of predators that descend on a single victim and just rip that victim apart. It was just terrible and disgusting. And I just really hope that some of the liberals on the north side wake up to what's happening in Chicago.
Thanks for the call, Michael. Larry Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, you can actually call me Larry, 100 feet from the city line in Chicago. But even when I'm outside cutting the grass or grilling or whatever, I have something on me, a 380, 357 Magnum, something, because I don't trust the neighborhood. I don't trust people coming through the neighborhood.
Thanks for the call, Larry.
I mean, in that case, what she was carrying, though, I don't know if she would have had time. It was 3-on-1. And they pushed her down. I mean, who knows? But I'm sure. I wonder if she's going to even stay in the city anymore, or if she's going to get a concealed carry permit. I mean, who knows?
Marty, Naperville.
Hi, a couple quick things. One, Lori Lightfoot. Amy, next time you see her, ask her why she called the governor of Texas a racist for sending the immigrants here, who the Man Bun News in the morning calls the Texas immigrants. And number two, they're interviewing people in the neighborhood after this woman is attacked about community get-together. Happened 30 feet from a house in the middle of the afternoon. Not one person ran out of their house.
Well, a lot of people are gone this weekend. There are a lot of empty houses this weekend in Lakeview.
They're not all gone this weekend. Anybody down a block away, Amy, could have heard that.
On my street. Well,
doesn't anybody at least just run out of their house?
Well, of course, if they heard her screaming.
Thanks for the call,
And the
Marty.
circuit court judge that lived right by there. No, I would have run out if I hear screaming like that. I always run out if I hear screaming.
I'm not talking about you. People will not get involved. Most people will not get involved when a person is in an emergency situation. There's study after study. In fact, I wrote an op-ed for the Chicago Tribune. Gosh, this has to be 6 years ago, and I still remember the kid's name. Marquise Gaines, the kid that was walking home from late shift, working at a bar on Hubbard Street, and was knocked out by a guy right outside the 7-Eleven on State and Hubbard, knocked out in the middle of the street, and left there. And people, it was busy. It's 2 a.m., but it's busy there. People walking by, in and out of the 7-Eleven, across Hubbard, on State, walking over him. Two guys, you could see from a camera, two guys ran and stole his watch while he's unconscious lying on the street. And then a cab that was turning right onto State off Hubbard around a car that was double parked ran over him because he didn't see him and killed him. So don't tell me that people in Chicago would rally. I'm sure many of us would, and we'd like to think we would. But the fact is, and by the way, there's Cornell studies on this too. This has been, researched. The fact is that we won't. Most people will not. Most people do not. This goes back 50 years to Kitty Genovese in New York City, who was being stabbed to death, raped and stabbed. Not, I don't think to death, but stabbed and raped, and people could hear her screams, and nobody came out of their apartment to do anything. People are loath to get involved, and I understand being afraid. I don't condone it, but I understand it. I don't understand being afraid to change out the political leadership of the community in which you reside. That's what I don't understand. If somebody could ever help me understand that, especially in an environment like this, I'd appreciate it. Clay and Wheeling.
Morning, Dan and Amy. This isn't something that you can just vote away. I believe that Lori Lightfoot is 100% to blame, maybe 80% to blame. But this is more of a Chicago as a society and our behavior. Some of it has to do with politics, but a lot of it has to do with society and the way we look at things. And I think that's really what's taken the worst change. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Clay. Speaking of...
I mean, they look like these three thugs did this for sport, just for, Blinks and giggles.
That's what they do.
Weird.
They're thieves, apparently.
God.
That's what they do.
But this circuit court judge who lives nearby handles felony bail hearings in Chicago. Isn't that interesting? I'm sure they didn't even know that. They just randomly picked her because she was walking alone.
Terry, Rogers Park.
If she had a gun and she killed one of them, they'd put her in jail.
Thanks for the call, Terry. Mary Kay, Western Springs.
Yeah, on the fact that people don't want to get involved, Dan, I pass out in my gym and lay on the floor and look like I might be having a heart attack. Nobody even checks on me. I'm just laying there for dead. But that's how people, that goes to your point that people don't want to get involved. They get scared. They don't want to know what to do. My point here is, what more do the Champaign Socialists in Lakeview need to happen? They all need to get attacked. I kind of feel like...
Easy, Mary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mary, you want me thrown down, Mary? Come on.
Listen, Amy. No, I don't. But I'm telling you, what does it take? Dan, that's what Dan was saying earlier. What does it take?
I don't know.
To change their minds? I don't know either. And I'll never take a job in Lakeview again, Amy. I'll never go down there because I have a client in the city. I'm just going to say, no, I'm not taking any more jobs down here. I don't want to be there. Sorry, maybe I'm a wimp. I'm scared. I'm not going. If it's going to happen, a lot of things just happen to me. It might happen to me, and that's my attitude. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Mary Kay. Yeah, and it was just last week when I'm the one responsible for scaring suburbanites from coming to the city. Yeah. Is it a television ad documenting what's happening, or is it what's happening that's frightening city dwellers as well as suburbanites and people of all races, by the way? Maybe if we keep asking that question, that some scales will fall from some eyes. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but at least some.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. The current COVID pandemic has been a challenge for all of us, and many businesses struggled and experienced financial distress. Businesses are focused on recovering now, and fortunately, several government programs are available to ease this process. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC, an incentive program designed to bolster businesses that were able to retain their employees during the COVID pandemic. Companies may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee if they qualify, and they may be eligible even if they previously participated in the Payroll Protection Program, or PPP. Most importantly, this is not a loan. No repayment is required. Billions of dollars are still available, yet many companies are underutilizing this credit due to IRS changes on eligibility. Our dedicated ERC team can help to discover if your business is eligible, determine the amount, and assist with the filing of the credit. Contact me directly to learn more at 630-524-5274 or online at pkfmueller.com.
Lose that summer vacation weight quickly and reset your metabolism with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses technology that consists of hair and saliva sampling to customize a personal weight loss program just for you. Contact NJ Diet today, and they will contractually guarantee that you'll shed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. NJ Diet is a hormone detoxification system that evaluates and targets each individual person's needs, then balances your hormones where the side effect is weight loss. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your personal diet plan and workout regimen so you can keep the weight off. Full supervision is provided every step of the way, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet is all natural. There are no shots, no hormones, no prepackaged foods, and no surgery. Appointments are available in Skokie and Oak Brook, or from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. Or log on to njdiet.com to lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I've gotten a whole lot stronger. I've built up my whole energy system.
I just feel really good. I mean, I'm 88 years old, and I feel pretty good. I get around well, and I think it's given me more energy.
I do definitely notice that I don't feel as tired and mentally drained, and my head feels clear, and I have energy to do things like outside.
We like your products. We use it all the time, and we're doing very well, and we thank you. We see more energy, and we just feel better all the time.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, they've helped families set their legacies in stone for over 180 years. With interest-free financing and low monthly payments, now is the time to set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 today to schedule a free consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I can't believe this is happening in Downers Grove. Why can't you? At 6:06.
But now let's head straight into the newsroom for news here at home and around the world. Here is Mike Scott.
The death of an infant in Monee ruled a homicide. A woman shot on the north side has died. R. Kelly's trial on hold at the Dirksen Federal Building. We'll tell you why. White Sox hold off the Mariners. Cubs host the Reds. Sky visit the Sun in Game 4. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
He spent Labor Day campaigning. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The extreme MAGA Republicans in Congress have chosen to go backwards, full of anger, violence, hate, and division.
9 weeks before Election Day, President Biden went to Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, two battleground states. Democrats are trying to flip Republican Senate seats, and he again took aim at Trump-supporting Republicans.
In hoping to rally his base, Biden's launching attacks on Republican candidates like Ron Johnson, tying them to January 6th.
Senator Johnson said it was, by and large, a peaceful protest. Have you seen the videos?
Johnson responded in a statement saying President Biden confirmed he has become the divider-in-chief. Not only have his policies been a disaster for hardworking Wisconsinites, he continued his dishonest attacks against me.
Fox's Griff Jenkins, former President Trump, says it's President Biden who's the threat to democracy. Now, Trump also won a court fight to have an independent review of the classified and other material taken from his home in Florida.
That ruling by federal judge Eileen Cannon not only approves the appointment of the special master that Trump has asked for, but also puts a pause on the Justice Department's review of those seized documents.
That's Fox's Brooks Sigmund. They're transferring power today in Britain. Boris Johnson's on his way out as prime minister.
Together, we have laid foundations that will stand the test of time.
He is now meeting with the Queen, who will formally appoint Liz Truss to take over as prime minister. It's back to school after Labor Day for many students in the Northeast and in Uvalde, Texas. But kids won't be going to Robb Elementary, the site of May's massacre of 19 students and 2 teachers. That building will be torn down. There's new fencing being built around other schools and a police presence, and 10 golden retrievers there today will be as the comfort dogs.
We're hoping that our dogs are that bridge to bring the kids together to see their friends and a familiar teacher.
Bonnie Fear with Lutheran Church Charities. America's
66 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. R. Kelly's federal trial on hold at the Dirksen Federal Building closed today due to operational issues. The death of a 2-month-old boy in Monee being ruled a homicide. Police say first responders were called out the end of August 31st, due to an infant who wasn't breathing at a truck stop on Manhattan Monee Road. Seven Simons was hospitalized and died later of blunt force trauma to the head. A woman is dead after she was shot last month on Chicago's north side. Police say the victim was one of 2 women shot sitting in a car back on August 25th. She died yesterday. According to unofficial expert tallies, 14 were killed over the long Labor Day holiday weekend. Another 55 were wounded. Chicago Alderwoman Susan Garza is retiring at the end of her term. She's represented the 10th Ward on Chicago's southeast side for 9 years. Her announcement comes after a number of other city council members have decided not to seek re-election next February. One man is dead after police say he was shot attacking a security guard with an axe outside of a marijuana dispensary in the Greektown neighborhood. The guard began arguing with the man yesterday outside of the dispensary over a return policy. Man began swinging an axe and then struck the security guard in the leg. The guard was hospitalized with cuts to the leg. The guard shot the man, who was pronounced dead, at a nearby hospital. People who live in neighborhoods on the north side are asking for a wider police presence after a woman was attacked and robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight. A Ring doorbell camera captured the armed robbery just before 3 Sunday. A 45-year-old woman was walking in the 2900 block of North Sealy when a black car pulled up and 3 in masks and hoodies jumped out, pushed that female victim to the ground, swiping her phone, wallet, and keys. White Sox took down the Mariners 3-2. Lance Lynn earned win number 5, striking out 11. Southsiders, 2 back of Cleveland. They take on the M's again tonight. Cubs start a series with the Reds at Wrigley Field. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. 49ers open their set on the road visiting the Bears in Chicago's Sunday afternoon. The news, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Subscribe free, 560theanswer.com/podcast. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets are on sale now for Freedom Summit 2022, presented by Matrix Home Solutions, coming to the West and Chicago Northwest and Itasca on Saturday, November 5th. This year's lineup features Larry Elder, Brandon Tatum, Alex Berenson, Jenna Ellis, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets for this event sell out every year, so don't wait. Get yours today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by healthinsurancementors.com and by Charles Equipment Energy Systems.
Hi, Larry Elder here. I never really thought much about how aches and pains can reduce a person's quality of life until pain started keeping me from living my best life. Just a few years ago, using the stairs was difficult because of the back pain. Then I found Relief Factor, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains. Within a week, I was on my way back to being pain-free. Now I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every single day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain and the other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better. Move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 others. Get started today with your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. About 70% go on to order more because it works for them. Go to ReliefFactor.com to order now. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. ReliefFactor.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I need to tell you, I'm 81 years old. I've been taking these now for about 2 months. I am so happy. I'm telling everybody about you. I am just so pleased, but I just feel wonderful. I never felt so good in my life.
I really thought that, this is just another gimmick, that this wasn't really a real good vitamin. I just thought it was just another vitamin on the TV. And so my husband said, well, why don't you order them and let's try them? He said, because we don't eat right anyway. And we tried them in about a week. We started feeling much better.
Start your journey. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping, and don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:07. Let's get an update on the roads now. We do that in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And this update is a service of Blindster. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blind shades and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Visit Blindster now at blindster.com. Edens is okay this early morning. Kennedy inbound 20 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound on the Kennedy, stop and go between Cumberland and I-190. Ike inbound 27, 390 to the old post office. Ike outbound due to an earlier accident. They're all gummed up. Racine out to Damon. Stevenson in 27 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan inbound, right now 11 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A morning shower in spots, otherwise clouds and breaks of sun today. The high at 79. Clear tonight, low 65. Sunshine, nice day tomorrow. The high at 85. Sunny for Thursday, terrific afternoon, high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
66 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. People got all excited, I saw, even when I was off, about the news that there was a drag queen story hour, drag queen bingo night at the Downers Grove Public Library.
Yeah, for kids from middle school to high school.
Grades 7 to 12, being hosted by drag queen Aurora Devine, Tuesday, October 11th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. If you want to make a note on your schedule there.
Yeah, on her Instagram account for, prior drag queen bingo events. She brings a paddle that says bingo on it. When you get bingo, you got to get on all fours, Dan, and you smack the butt of the winner while she's dressed in drag. But we don't know if that's going to be part of the routine because she took all those pictures off her Instagram account. Or he.
Yeah. Well, do update us when we find out what the itinerary will be.
Well, they are
going
to be dancing to the song Rainbow by Katy Perry after the event is over in a library where people are supposed to be quiet. Okay.
I heard, including from friends of mine in Downers Grove, I can't believe this is happening in Downers Grove. What? Including people listening to the show. What are you talking about?
Who's on the library board? Who's on the school board?
What planet do you live on? What county are you in? What state are you in? Do you know the answers to those questions?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
How is anyone surprised this is happening at the Downers Grove Library? I'm honestly asking because I want somebody to tell me why they're surprised, what they haven't noticed. Maybe a little bit of a mea culpa about the level of attention that's being paid to what's happening in your backyard, much less your state. Oh, by the way, Anastasia Murray, who is the rep for that area, not only is she relevant, suburban rep, Bennett Academy grad, like me. Oh. She she was a co-sponsor of the Safety Act. So she's co-sponsor of something that DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin and James Glasgow basically said, end of days in the suburbs, where you're going to be letting repeat violent offenders out of jail, and you're going to start seeing the ugliness you see in the city, which you do see in the suburbs, but you're going to see it increase, that level of ugliness. She's a co-sponsor of that legislation. She is a out and proud advocate of all of these Marxist cultural degradations. And then she's your state legislator.
So you can vote her out.
And then how can this be happening in Downers Grove and Naperville and places like that? What are you talking about? I mean, I do not understand what people don't understand. Could they make it any clearer? This is not, subterranean. They're not clandestine meetings that are being had at undisclosed locations. They're doing things at your public library. They're doing these things at your school. That you're seeing it in your workplace, many of you. What is confusing? So if you could just be honest, some of you, and also challenge the folks in your circles of influence to be honest, just tell me that you don't want to take up the fight. But don't tell me you don't know. Don't plead ignorance, because it's not possible not to know what's happening if you're paying even passing attention. And frankly, you barely have to pay passing attention because you're going to get slapped upside the head with it if you go outside of your home. Actually, you don't even have to go outside of your home. If you go online or you go outside of your home, it will find you.
Well, yeah, people were confused at how this could happen. I mean, who decided this was a good idea? Who started it? It was a library board member and the librarian herself. They wanted this event to take place, and that's what happened.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, people didn't know that, Dan. They don't know how these things work.
That makes no sense. That is completely ridiculous. That is a completely ridiculous statement. I wholeheartedly reject it. You can't have it both ways. I'm a smart professional who, settled in Downers Grove for the schools and so on and so forth. I don't know what's going on. I'm just some cave dweller. The smart people are in charge of the library. You can't have it both ways. Sorry.
It's the setting, the whole premise of them doing it there, and even having it anywhere, but having it there at the library. You're supposed to be quiet in the library.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, how did this happen?
Bingo.
How did this happen? How did this happen in Decatur? Pride Fest being held in Decatur, Illinois, will feature drag queen story over followed by a youth drag show later this month. Oh, youth drag show.
Oh, youth drag show?
Third Decatur Pride Fest to be held. The third one. Expects it to be the best Pride yet, said Mark Schleter.
Isn't June over?
The event will also feature a Pets of Pride where animals can dress up in Pride colors and a pet fashion show where owners will dress up in matching outfits with their pets. And then you got the youth drag show. Unclear if there's any age restrictions. The participants must be a youth. Well, that's good.
That's
The event is sponsored by various local organizations, including Decatur's First Presbyterian Church, of course, the Decatur Audubon Society, sure. I don't know what's going on. How is this happening in Decatur? How is this happening in Downers Grove? Children's Lurie Hospital is partnering with school districts to promote gender theory. In partnerships with at least 4 school districts in the Chicago area, Lurie's Children's Hospital is providing training documents to help school administrators, faculty, and staff understand the new norms for gender identity, including supporting gender diversity, affirming students who come out with sexual transitions, and so on and so forth. Yeah, they got a whole gender development program you can find right at luriechildrens.org, the website. Gender nonconforming children, gender expansive, transgender, gender fluid youth, and so on and so forth. The resources include for some of the schools, the partnership. The resources include a website that contains kid-friendly, gender-affirming gear and a variety of sex toys. It also has links to descriptions of various sexual terms, complete with graphic descriptions. And the training also instructs school staff members to get a student's permission to discuss any aspect of gender conformation with the student's parents. One specific note says that staff should only use names and pronouns approved by the student when having discussions with parents. That's Children's Lurie Hospital, a celebrated Children's Lurie Hospital partnering with school districts. How can this be happening? Yeah. It's a real conundrum.
And you in Downers Grove, your tax dollars were going to go pay for that drag queen bingo. But then somebody stepped up and said, well, I'll pay the money myself. Some good Samaritan.
Courtney in Highland Park.
Yeah, I just took a little walk through Deerfield Public Library to see the gender identity or gender queer book on this full display in the children's area as it was nominated, I guess, for a Lincoln Award. Quick Google what that was, and I guess it's voted on by students as like just highly rated. So there you go, full display. If people don't start talking about it and stepping up and making a fuss, it's coming. I mean, it's right here in our backyard.
Yeah.
It's here.
Thanks for the call, Courtney. Well, of course. I mean, why shouldn't it win a book award? It has the courage to talk to grade schoolers about oral and anal sex. Isn't that what you want your kids focused on in the primary grades? You know, K through 5. Let's get into oral sex and anal sex and gender identity and all that stuff, right? That's why you moved to Highland Park for the schools. That's why you live in Downers Grove for the schools. That's why you're in Wheaton. It's for the schools. Hinsdale, the schools, good communities. Oh, and you know, it's crazy. It'll stop on its own.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Yeah, you know, I can't believe that's happening. Okay. No, they wouldn't go that far. Or if they've gone a little too far, and you know, we're gonna get around to putting a stop to that.
I heard one say, "Well, it's just it's June, it's Pride Month." Well, Pride Month is now extended through the entire year. If you haven't noticed,
it's temporary.
Yeah, it'll go away.
Here's an illustration of how the left works, since sensible people and the center right, so many of them don't seem to understand, including some of our colleagues that have radio shows at this station, incredibly to me, based on the reaction to the Biden speech. Here's how the left works. You wanted a real-world example? Jack Phillips. We've had him on the show many times. We will again. Masterpiece Cake Shop in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
He took a case all the way to the Supreme Court for his unwillingness to bake a cake for a same-sex wedding. Took a case all the way to the Supreme Court and won. Well, that's over. Oh, really? Jack Phillips is back in court.
Why?
This is been going on 8 years now. One angle of attack after another from the left. He's embroiled in a third lawsuit. And the Colorado trial court, despite the Supreme Court's decision in the Masterpiece, has entered an order punishing Jack, just as civil rights commissions and lower courts in Colorado have done before when it came to marriage redefinition, because Jack's a Christian. And this time, he won't bake a cake to celebrate a gender transition. So they're distinguishing that, even though it's still related to his faith, they're distinguishing that from the marriage redefinition cakes. And so a Colorado trial court entered an order punishing Jack for living out his faith, and now they're appealing.
Oh, good.
He was the guy, again, at the center of one of the most talked about Supreme Court decisions. We talked about it extensively on the show, including with Jack. 2018, he won at the Supreme Court. 2022, he's a small business owner, runs a small business with his family, his wife and his kid, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And for 8 years, it's been one contrived approach after another from the radical LGBTQ left to take him down. Why? Because he stood up. And you say, well, that's exactly why I don't stand up. No, it's exactly why you need to stand up. And it's also, you need to stand up in groups. It can't just, thankfully, he's got a Howard Rourke disposition. He'll stand against the world if need be. That's Jack Phillips, because he takes his faith seriously. But that's not everybody. Non-stop. So you think the crazier they get, the more they're biting off more than they could chew. The more over the top they come, they're overreaching, and this is going to boomerang back. It does not boomerang back by itself. And they will not stop. Please see Jack Phillips. Steve and Roselle.
Yeah, I'd like to comment that I think the librarians are the biggest book burners. I went to a book sale at my local library, and they were selling off good cultural books and books written by Winston Churchill at the same time that they're buying books that you wouldn't want your children to have.
Thanks for the call, Steve. John, Naperville.
First off, Jack Phillips, I hope he gets a civil rights case against the state and everybody else that's trying to persecute him for billions of dollars. The other thing is with this, books and all that stuff, if I took the neighbor's kid that's like 6 or 7 and start talking to him about anal sex and oral sex, I'd get pummeled and thrown in jail. Why isn't the same happening to these librarians and everybody else that's pushing this garbage?
Thanks for the call, John, because these are credentialed people.
Yeah.
Experts in their field.
They know what's best for everyone.
Yeah.
This is going to happen, and it will happen, and I am not backing down. That's what the librarian said on Friday.
And don't tell your parents.
You don't need parental permission, by the way, to go to the Downers Grove event, which is they say is already sold out.
Of course it is. Oh, how could it be happening in Downers Grove? It's sold out. Oh, you don't need permission? Of course you don't need permission from your parents. You don't need permission from your parents if you're a 13-year-old girl who wants to have invasive surgery. No, you don't need to notify permission. You don't even notify your parents. Same thing goes when it comes to choosing your gender identity, and it will come to pass that it will include gender reassignment surgery. It will include mutilation of minors, and parents will not need to consent. Hilarious. They won't need to be notified. Why would it be any different on that political issue than it is on the other political issue?
There's teachers in school that are calling kids not the names that they were born with without the parents knowing. People are shocked.
Cassandra in Ravenswood.
Good morning. Until people stop voting for these people, start calling Duckworth and Durbin and Lightfoot. You can't even call Lightfoot's office. You have to text it. Until they start objecting to this. If all you do is listen to the corporate media, you don't have a clue what is going on in this world. And I don't mean to get all heavy about it, but it's true. You don't have a clue. You don't know what's going on. And these people don't want to know. And you've got, 30, 50 million people in this country dependent on government institutions for their income. So those people are never going to change. They're always going to vote for bigger government. It's the rest of us who have to stand up and understand that the contract that we have with government is one in which they're not entitled to misallocate our resources, force us to decide what kind of energy we're going to use, what kind of car we have to drive. All of that is an abrogation of free enterprise and the contract that we have with each other, that if you're selling me a good at a price that I want to pay, then you should get to sell it, just like the radio shows. These people hate individual authority, they hate competition, and they will not change.
Thanks for the call, Cassandra. Rich, Indian Head Park.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. The question I want to ask is why I would like to hear from the parents of these kids in Downers Grove, why they would send these kids there if they hear about what's going on. And what do they think they're going to learn from these drag queens and this bingo, so-called bingo that they're having at these
They're going to learn.
libraries?
They're going to learn tolerance and celebrating diversity because that's all they know. Because they're dilettantes. They're automatons. Did you see what happened to Jason Aldean? The country music star
with his wife.
Jason Aldean has been dropped by his PR company of the last 17 years. And this is the country music industry where there are a few conservatives or just like commonsensical people that live on this planet. They got dropped because his wife posted a story on Instagram where she thanked her parents for not changing her gender after she went through her tomboy phase. And then Aldean commented saying, LMAO, I should say, I'm glad they didn't too, because you and I wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah. And now they've been vilified for it.
Yeah, well, and then she also posted about genital mutilation of children under the disguise of love. But that's it. They have been brainwashed by the passivity and diversity. And I don't know what it's going to take to unprogram them. But
that's pretty. I mean, the country music fans turning on them like that, though.
Well,
I don't think it was them.
Country
it was just
music
the left.
fans. It was a PR company because it's testament to what the industry's like.
Right, but
not what
social media blew
not what the
up.
fans are like. Yeah, but that's just because you have the social media trolls of the left.
Right.
But this is my point. You have got to stand and fight intellectually, rhetorically, with your words and your thoughts, and saying, no, you shall not do this to my children. And yes, I have a stake in this school, this classroom, this library. I mean, you have to be counted here. That's the point.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Celebrate Fireplace and Chimney Authority's 30th anniversary tent sale at their Lyle showroom at 1702 Ogden Avenue for 3 days only, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. They want to thank their loyal customers for 30 years of loyalty and look forward to another 30 years. To reward you, they're offering unbelievable savings on outdoor kitchens and gas grills. Find the absolute lowest prices on pellet grills and everyone's favorite, the Big Green Egg. From outdoor heaters, grill accessories, gas logs, electric fireplaces, and much more. You can find it all at the Fireplace and Chimney Authority's 30th anniversary tent sale at their Lyle showroom, 1702 Ogden Avenue. The smokers and grills will be going with free samples for everyone, and they're giving away free promo bags to the first 100 customers. Additional discounts for fireplace cleanings and inspections only at the event. They can't wait to see you there, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit fireplaceandchimneyauthority.com for all the details.
Guys, a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all of your levels, not just your testosterone, and they determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, which is prostate levels, as well as thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month. Make your health a priority. Schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All right, we're past Labor Day, so now it's a sprint to November 8th. We check in with some of the local and regional, and ultimately we'll be checking with statewide candidates in Illinois as well as key races around the country. We start off at 6:36 with Keith Pekau, who's running for Congress against incumbent Sean Casten in Illinois 6. So perk up, suburbs. Keith Pekau, 6:36.
You want change, now's the time to make it happen. But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
6:31, 66 degrees. The Department of Justice says they're examining a federal judge's decision to appoint a special master to review documents seized from former President Donald Trump's Florida home. Tennessee Congressman David Kustoff explains why he believes that special master is needed.
While some people say this order that was issued yesterday is unprecedented, which it is, we have to remember the whole raid to begin with is unprecedented on a former president.
The DOJ says the department will consider appropriate next steps that may include an appeal. President Biden cheered American workers and highlighted some union gains during Labor Day visits.
They're extreme, and democracy is really at stake. You can't be a democracy when you support violence, when you don't like the outcome of election.
Biden addressed steelworkers in Pennsylvania Monday and earlier spoke in Wisconsin. Primary elections are being held in Massachusetts today. Polls are open until 8 p.m. Many voters have already cast ballots, taking advantage of early voting. The governor of California has signed into law a measure mandating fast food employees get higher wages, enforcing small business owners to go before a union-sponsored and staffed fast food council. Governor Gavin Newsom signed that bill that business owners say may force them to close their doors or force them into a neighboring state. R. Kelly's federal trial in Chicago is on hold at the Dirksen Federal Building. That courthouse will be closed today due to operational issues. A woman is dead, shot last month on Chicago's north side. That victim was one of two women shot in a car August 25th. She died yesterday at a nearby hospital. Her name has not been released. The other woman remains in critical condition. According to unofficial expert tallies, 14 were killed over the long Labor Day holiday weekend in Chicago. Another 55 were wounded. Illinois does not fare well in a review of state laws pertaining to election integrity. Zach Smith is a legal fellow with the Heritage Foundation.
And we rank them based on how well we thought they were doing to make sure their elections are safe and secure, and that their state officials are making it easy to vote and hard to cheat. Now, unfortunately, Illinois didn't do particularly well on this metric.
Illinois landed 40th overall with bad marks for no voter ID laws. White Sox beat the Mariners 3-2. Cubs begin a set with the Reds. Sky will try and stamp their ticket to the WNBA Finals tonight. The news service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't fall for the tricks.
My friends, the climate issue is an excuse to give government more and more power. It's based on gobbledygook that we could live on wind and solar. Live on wind and solar power. Where is that happening in the world? Where is that happening? They're not serious about climate change. They're serious about revolution.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. The New York Times just published a hyperventilating expose about conservative state officials, quote, weaponizing against climate action. Of course, it has the same old tropes, science denial, words like conspiring, and, of course, accusations of secrecy. As someone involved in the investment industry, I've watched for a decade as left-wing activists have secretly conspired to use investor money to push an agenda at odds with the investors' interest. They've done it quietly, often funded by undisclosed sources. Now the silent majority is awake, and a number of state treasurers are actually confronting this trend. So now, all of a sudden, the New York Times is worried about states making financial decisions. But these officers are simply doing their job. They're asking companies to stick to their day job and stop sticking it to their state's energy industry. These state officials aren't the ones who started the politicization of business, but they're the ones who are getting busy with efforts to stop it.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It will be the summer of joy in Chicago.
Instead, the trio of Pritzker, Lightfoot, and Fox have made this another summer of murder, mayhem, and chaos.
My granddaughter FaceTimed us saying, help me, Daddy's shot. And then they over him and they executed him in front of her. And then they shot at her.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker, the lawlessness of Chicago will soon be the law statewide. Pritzker's so-called Safety Act makes Illinois a safe haven for violent criminals. That's why 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys oppose Pritzker's mandatory release of alleged murderers, kidnappers, and arsonists. Prosecutors like Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow.
It's going to be literally the end of days.
And prosecutors like DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin.
We are going to have violent criminals out on the street.
Stop Chicago violence from coming to your town. Vote no on J.B. Pritzker. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
The dollar is in grave danger as Russia and China recruit more nations into their anti-dollar alliance known as BRICS. If this continues, How much longer until the dollar is worthless? Stephen K. Bannon here. I urge you to get Birch Gold's free info kit on safeguarding your savings into a gold IRA. To get your free copy, text the word safeguard to 989898. With inflation continuing to explode, it's critical you take action today. Text safeguard to 989898 right now.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and this update is service of Wendy's Homestyle French Toast Sticks. Wendy's new Homestyle French Toast Sticks, so good. Some are saying they're better than their mom's French toast. Crispy on the outside, perfectly fluffy on the inside. Try Wendy's new Homestyle French Toast Sticks today and see if they're better than your mom's. Inbound Eden's 19 minutes, Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound right now, 49 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound, 47 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, 42 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in, 20 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Morning shower in spots, otherwise warmer with a bit of sun through the afternoon and a high of 79. Currently 66. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, Mayor Triple Threat was out demagoguing Texas Governor Greg Abbott over the weekend after more migrants arrived from Texas.
A busload of 50. None are Mexican, none are from Texas. Venezuelans, mostly.
Here's what Lightfoot has been saying about Abbott in pertinent part.
Let me say loud and clear to Greg Abbott and his enablers in Texas. With these continued political stunts, Governor Abbott has confirmed what unfortunately many of us had already known, that he is a man without any morals, humanity, or shame. Governor Abbott's racist and xenophobic practices of expulsion have only amplified the challenges many of these migrants have experienced on their journey to find a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she went after his faith in God, as if God is watching.
And the way that we welcome them is not what the governor of Texas is doing. It is absolutely un-American, and I urge him. He professes to be a Christian. This is not the Christianity and the teachings of the Bible that I know. And I think religious leaders all across the country are standing up and denouncing exactly this. But what we must do in this moment is make sure that we do live our values, and we open up every opportunity that we can to support these migrants.
Migrants getting off the bus are thrilled to be here. They're happy. They took an air-conditioned bus, a nice bus, not a school bus, from Texas to here. They signed up to come to Chicago because they want to be in Chicago. And they're very appreciative and grateful. Some that were interviewed after the first busload said, please give us a chance. One's a civil engineer. She said, we had to leave Venezuela. I was making $2 a day, and I can't live on that.
Yeah, Chicago will beat that out of them. Their excitement about locating in Chicago. We'll see how that goes. The biblical scholar there, Lori Lightfoot, and her fellow politicians in robes that have a very curious take on this matter of migrants and how we're to accommodate them or not. Lightfoot said that Abbott could give her a heads up, coordinate with the city of Chicago so that accommodations can be made because, she said,
instead of us having to guess, are they coming, are they not coming, how many, what are their needs? That is insanity that doesn't have to happen. He is manufacturing a human crisis, and it makes no sense to me.
So 2 points on that. Are they coming? Are they not? How many? What are their needs? Oh, golly. So that's a question that state and local officials in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona have to ask themselves every fracking day, isn't it? Because of the lawlessness at the border. 2 million illegal crossings since Biden has been president. 600,000 people, we don't know where they are. They're in this country illegally. We don't know where. Including, what's the number? 70 on the terrorist watch list that the FBI has identified. Also don't know where they are. Every single day, Abbott and local officials at the border in those communities have to ask, are they coming? Are they not? What are their needs? Because nobody wants to treat anybody inhumanely. That's a straw dog argument from a race hustler. And that's all she is. And that's clearly how she sees her path to reelection. Everything is racist. And let's, do the whole, let's live our values in the abstract, whatever those are. Her value, as far as I can tell, is lawlessness. The insanity of it is that nobody challenged her to say, well, coordination and provision. Well, how about you and Jelly Belly talk to your buddy, Mr. 10% in D.C. and say, secure the border, coordinate with your state and local governments the way you want Abbott to coordinate with you so that Texas and the other border states don't have this problem, and then it's not visited upon Chicago. The other matter, though, too, just one other point on this. The whole, just like we talked about with Eric Adams, or we talked about with Muriel Bowser when migrants were sent to New York and Washington, D.C., respectively. The whole, we're overwhelmed by 50 migrants. Well, if you're overwhelmed by 50 migrants in a city with $15 billion budget, and that doesn't include all the nonprofits that feed at the trough of the city and the state. If 50 people overwhelms you, then maybe you should rethink your sanctuary city and state policies.
50 people is nothing. Because thousands more are coming in today.
For more on this and other topics that are federal and local in relation, Keith Pekau, he's the Republican nominee for Congress in Illinois 6. Keith Pekau, Pekau.com is the website. Keith, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan and Amy.
So you know something about coordination or the lack of it, being a mayor of a local community. How well does the city and the state coordinate with you as mayor of Orland Park when it comes to policies that are made at the city and state level that impact suburban communities like yours?
Well, I'm sure one of the things you're referencing is the crime issue. How about all the crime that's being shipped to all the suburbs from the city of Chicago through policies that Lori Lightfoot supports from Kim Foxx and from Governor Pritzker? The Safety Act, when it goes into effect January 1st, is going to be a nightmare for this entire state. Not just it'll hit the suburbs first, but it will be a nightmare for the entire state.
Well, and with respect to people that are being bussed into the city and this region, I mean, I assume that Abbott and somebody, I shouldn't assume it, but I suspect that, they do some sort of background check, make sure they're not anybody that has a hit in terms of a criminal record and so on and so forth. So I have nothing against these people from Venezuela or any other country that want to come to this country. But I mean, it just speaks to the general lawlessness. If it's something we like, the law doesn't matter. If it's something we don't like, the law also doesn't matter. And it just seems to me that like baseline rule of law, baseline rules of the game, if you will, rules of living in a free society are just flouted in this region, in this state. And I know your opponent, Sean Casten, is a big fan of said flouting.
So certainly you see it. So I'll give you two examples, one state level, one federal. State level, J.B. Pritzker. What are we on, the 140th executive order? For executive orders are supposed to last 30 days. It's like, we'll just let one person run the country.
33 in a row.
And he's about to, we'll see whether or not he signs at 34th.
And every other contiguous state in the Midwest ended their executive orders months ago, if not longer.
So we've been living under executive fiat for over 2 years, and then you have the national act recently of canceling $10,000 of debt for all these college students that hardworking, union members, hardworking people who've paid their own debts off, paid their own kids' debts off, are going to have to pay off. And remember, they tried to pass that through Congress, and it failed even with Democratic control. And so, ignore the Constitution. I'll just do it via executive fiat. So you're exactly right. They push laws, they ignore laws that they feel like, and they just do whatever they feel like one way or the other.
What's your take on this drag queen bingo that's going to be taking place in Downers Grove at their library in October?
Well, my statement was pretty clear. It's inappropriate and it's an unacceptable use of public funds in a public place.
And by the way, I mean, just so you know, how is this happening in Downers Grove? You can add how is this happening in Lisle to the mix. I forgot to mention when we were talking about at the top of the hour. LGBTQ presentation and dialogue. Please join us for a two-part series as we unpack LGBTQ, reflect on the narrative of faith and sexuality in the Catholic Church, and offer ways to support our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. This is next Wednesday, and then again next month at St. Joan of Arc Parish Center in Lisle. So, I mean, there's the legal matter about tax dollars, what you're referencing, and you referenced in your statement, Keith, and then there's just sort of the cultural issue, too, of, as Lance Morrow nicely pointed out in his op-ed on Joe Biden's speech last week, that everything the left does today, Joe Biden and his friends do today, is predicated on force. All the authoritarian impulses are coming from the left.
And with regard to these events, how about we let our children just be children? Let them be innocent. Let them be children for a while. They'll have plenty of time to adult and make adult decisions on their, what is important to them. But, let's leave their childhood alone. And it's getting disgusting, really, that we continue to try and push adult-themed issues onto children, and it's getting younger and younger as we move forward.
When you're out campaigning or on the campaign trail and meeting with constituents, what's their biggest concern right now?
So the two biggest concerns that we hear is it's economy, inflation, and it's crime. So the crime coming from Chicago obviously is impacting all of the suburbs, and now some of the district is actually in Chicago, and that's where you hear the crime the most. And then everyone's suffering, at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and of course we hear now, oh, look at the gas prices, they're down, and well, yeah, they're still up 60% from what they were 20 months ago.
COVID. Story out in the New York Times, Washington Post covered it as well. It turns out, lo and behold, that shutting down the schools, bad idea. All of these outlets reporting what we've been reporting for some time. Actually, what we had some early indications on, even the first semester or first quarter of a semester when it was shut down in March of 2020, when schools were shut down in the spring of 2020, that the recession in math and reading scores is for kids that have been tested is unprecedented. What's your feeling about, since you rose to some prominence regionally and statewide during COVID because of the explanations you provided for the policy choices you were making in consultation with your council in Orland Park? What's your sense of people's understanding coming out of COVID as they're experiencing the struggles that their kids are having in school and the how much they've fallen back in some of their proficiencies and so forth? Do you feel somewhat vindicated? Is this, do you think, an issue that is going to be litigated between you and Kasten in the final 60 days?
I don't know if it'll be litigated in the last 60 days, just because I think people have tried to put COVID in the rearview mirror, so they don't really want to talk about it. But I'm certainly vindicated, with all the vitriol that was received by myself and my board. And it turns out we were right all along. We were right on all of it. And it really wasn't that hard to understand it if you looked at the information and the data, and it certainly wasn't hard to predict the issues we were going to have with children, because guess what? We did, and so did you, and so did many other people, predicted that these issues were going to happen. They're foreseeable if you just think about the think about the data that we did have, think about the information that we had, and use some common sense. It wasn't really hard to figure out that this was going to be a problem. And the biggest concern for me with COVID, we're seeing this issue now. What's going to happen to this generation of students when they're 30 and 35? I don't think we have any idea yet the impact that those 2 years are going to have on our entire society for the next 50 years.
Well, part of it is will they catch up? And that's a question. We don't know. But the report, again, test scores in elementary school math and reading plummeted to levels unseen for decades. Math scores dropped 7 points during the period of March 20 to 22, marking the first ever decline. Reading scores slipped 5 points, producing the largest dip in 30 years on the NAEP tests, often called the nation's report card. And they were given to mainly mainly 9-year-olds, meaning fourth graders. So fourth graders in 2020 and fourth graders in 2022. So where are those sixth graders from 2020 and we know where the fourth graders are in 2022? And, what does that mean for the rest of their grammar school education into high school and beyond? We also don't know that.
Absolutely. My wife's a math teacher in junior high, and she said it last year. She could tell the students that decided to not come to school and get taught at home via Zoom or whatever through the school. She said it was very obvious to her which kids had been in school and which kids weren't. And frankly, her observation is the best and brightest, the really, really talented and off the charts smarter children in math isn't impacted. They seem to be able to catch up. It's the rest of the children that weren't in class that are just struggling, and they're still struggling.
Yeah, and Governor Hochul from New York said, shame, we should never have done that. What we did was horrible. Do you think we're ever going to hear any of that from Governor Pritzker or Mayor Life or anybody who's taken years of our lives away from their kids and life experiences and can never get them back?
Well, I think we've seen that there will be no apologies, and we
just more executive orders. Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. We're just more executive orders. I mean, he's not accepting any responsibility, and the legislature has continued to let him act as if he's a king.
What is it about Sean Casten, your opponent, who is one of the I say this all the time, but all you have to do is go to his Twitter account, and I'll be proven right. He is one of the most just noxious and obnoxious human beings I've ever come across. I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking about human beings.
He even said if you have a gun because you're lacking certain anatomy.
He is just such an intolerant, juvenile goofball. It's still somewhat stunning to me that he is a two-term congressman from Chicago's western and now southwestern suburbs. So what is it that people need to know about him other than what I've just said that they don't know, and thus your challenge in the closing 2 months?
Well, so as you pointed out, so he's called me homophobic, transphobic already, because this is what he does. He calls people names. He doesn't address issues. He does the same thing to people in Washington, D.C. Well, who wants to work with someone like that? That's why we don't get anything done in D.C. is because of people like Sean Casten. We need to send people there that will actually work on issues and talk to people like human beings. But also people should know he tries to portray that he's a moderate. His voting record is left of AOC's. I know you don't think that's possible, but it is, because generally speaking, she will vote for, say, veteran-related issues. He almost always votes against them. So he is as far left as it gets in Congress, and I don't think that's what people want. I don't think that's what people in the district want. I do not think they want the policies of AOC, of Pelosi, and Biden. And he is as far left as any of them, and probably further left than them.
Are you going to debate him?
I hope so.
For the election. If you offered to, because that would be, I think that would help your campaign.
And we're working on it, but as you know, those things are hard to get set up.
And with Casten too, he is to the left of AOC and everybody else. He's like right there with Greta Thunberg when it comes to eliminating the combustion engine, eliminating fossil fuels, having smart thermometers that can be operated by the government, as we're seeing, or an energy company, as we're seeing in Colorado. He's for all that.
Well, you got to remember, before he was in Congress, he was lobbying Congress for subsidies for combined heat and power plants. So, and those include those are mostly powered by natural gas and by coal. So as long as it's his business, he wants the subsidies. As soon as he sold that business, now the subsidies go to new businesses that he's now involved in, like wood burning. So that's the latest thing, is to subsidize wood burning, because we're back to the Neanderthals at this point.
In so many ways are we back to the Neanderthals. Keith Pekau, Republican congressional nominee in Illinois 6, running against Sean Casten. Keith Pekau, Pekau.com, for more information about his candidacy and to get involved. Keith, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Remember to eat your fruits and vegetables. We all remember these words from our childhood. But how does anyone have time to buy, store, prepare, and eat enough healthy fruits and vegetables in our busy lives? Balance of Nature keeps it simple. Our produce is powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. The produce is then mixed into a scientifically researched blend designed with your body in mind. Once these blends are encapsulated, they are packaged and sent right to your door, so you can get all the benefits of a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables every day. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468-751. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
It's back to school for more American kids. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, especially in the Northeast after Labor Day, but also in Uvalde, Texas. Kids are returning for the first time since the massacre at Robb Elementary that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead, but they aren't going to Robb. It'll be demolished.
They're using an old building that was abandoned and calling it Uvalde Elementary.
Kelly Saberi's there for Austin's Fox 7 TV.
One of the most prominent security features is 8 feet tall fences. That's in addition to other things, including checking doors and locks, checking security cameras, and counselors for those who need it. DPS troopers will also be at each school patrolling on this first day back. While DPS won't share what their training included, UCISD emailed parents to say none of the 33 troopers stationed at schools this year were at Robb on May 24th.
The law enforcement response that day remains under scrutiny. It's now 9 weeks before Election Day.
Extreme MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and our economic security, they embrace political violence.
President Biden campaigned on Labor Day in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. GOP Congressman Jim Jordan fired back on Fox.
You got to call your opposition names when you got nothing else to point to. I mean, we went from safe streets to record crime. We went from a secure border to no border.
A changing of the guard in Britain. Liz Truss is meeting with the Queen for a formal appointment as Prime Minister, replacing Boris Johnson, who said this morning he built a foundation.
Great, solid masonry on which we will continue to build together.
In Saskatchewan, Canada, following that stabbing rampage when 10 people were murdered, the manhunt is down to 1. The brother of the suspect, still on the run, was found dead. In Memphis, Tennessee, they found a body in the search for Eliza Fletcher, a mother abducted early Friday while jogging.
Police have not confirmed the identity or cause of death, as the accused kidnapper, Cleofa Abston, is set to face his first hearing later this morning.
That's Fox's Jackie Ibanez. America's listening to Fox News. 67 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. R. Kelly's federal trial here in Chicago is on hold today. The Dirksen Federal Building will be closed due to operational issues. The death of a 2-month-old boy in Moni has been ruled a homicide. Police say first responders were initially called out August 31st to an infant who was not breathing at a truck stop on Manhattan Moni Road. Seven Simons was hospitalized and later died of blunt force trauma to the head. One woman is dead, shot last month on Chicago's north side. Police say the victim was one of two women shot sitting in a car back on August 25th. She died yesterday. Her name has not been released. One man killed, another injured in a shooting that happened in McKinley Park Monday evening. Police say two men, one 31, another of unknown age, were in a vehicle on South Paulina when they were struck by gunfire around 7:40. Chicago Alderwoman Susan Garza retiring at the end of her term. Garza's represented the 10th Ward on Chicago's southeast side for 9 years. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul is suing a Bridgeview-based construction firm over an elaborate scheme to keep its employees off payroll and avoid paying tax withholdings as required by law. The AG's suit also claims Drive Construction misclassified workers and skirted obligations to pay unemployment insurance contributions to the state. Sox beat the Mariners 3-2. Southsiders send Johnny Cueto to the mound tonight. Cubs start a home series against the Reds at Wrigley Field. Fighting Illini down a wideout for the rest of the 2022 season. Head coach Brett Bielema announcing yesterday that Sean Miller will miss the rest of the year because of severe injury. The news is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile or text the word app to 64636. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets are on sale now for Freedom Summit 2022, presented by Matrix Home Solutions, coming to the West and Chicago Northwest and Itasca on Saturday, November 5th. This year's lineup features Larry Elder, Brandon Tatum, Alex Berenson, Jenna Ellis, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets for this event sell out every year, so don't wait. Get yours today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Bishop's Hill Winery and by Illinois Concealed Carry Training.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
Sebastian Gorka here. I'm living a very blessed life as an intelligence analyst, a national talk show host, and author, and I have an amazing family. But like many of us, aches and pains start to interfere with living my best life, even just walking the dog. But I found Relief Factor 3 years ago, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains, and now I'm pain-free, and I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain and other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better, move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 other Americans. Get started today with your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. Almost 70% of those who order go on to use it more. ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father-son owners of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. That's right, designed to heal. And I agree with them. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor for them selected the 4 best ingredients, yes, 100% drug-free ingredients, that each help your body deal with inflammation. Each of the 4 ingredients deals with inflammation from a different metabolic pathway. That's right there, approaching from 4 different angles may very well be why so many people find such wonderful relief. If you have back pain, shoulder, neck, hip, knee, or foot pain from exercise or just getting older, you should order the 3-week Quick Start, discounted to only $19.95 to see if it'll work for you. I think it could. Give your body what it needs to heal itself. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-500-8384.
7:08. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and this update is service of the Salem Podcast Network. Subscribe free at salempodcastnetwork.com. Inbound Edens at 31 Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound, it's an hour. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound 45, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson 59 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Dan Ryan at 23 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A shower in the area this morning, otherwise clouds and breaks of sun. High today 79, clearing tonight low 65. Sunny, nice day tomorrow, the high near 80. Sunshine for Thursday, the high at 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
67 at O'Hare, next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the continued discussion about President Biden's ominous speech on Thursday night, Mr. 10% holding forth on MAGA in what Victor Davis Hanson, I thought, nicely characterized as the lurid visual effect was a cross between an outtake from Triumph of the Will and a bad version of Phantom of the Opera. It's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
And here's what he had to say during that lurid visual.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. You can't love your country only when you win.
In case you were confused about who he was talking to and what he was saying about you Trump voters, Donald Trump, he tweeted out, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of this country. Doesn't leave a lot of room for interpretation, I don't think. Not that it wasn't offered. Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, the quadruple threat on MSNBC. Anthony Esselin has this suggestion to turn off the sound when you're watching a politician speak.
Yeah.
And see if you can approximate what it is they say, because most of these people have just a repository of can't where a brain should be. Well, that's Karine Jean-Pierre. She is just this silly little girl. I know she's my age, but she is a little girl who was weaned on political cant, and that's all she has to offer.
He should be the strongest voice on democracy, and that's what he's using. He's using his voice to lift that up, to show what the inflection point that we're in at this current moment and how much it is important to protect those values. Look, the president was very clear. All you have to do, again, folks need to watch his speech, go read his speech. If you have it, it is powerful, it is impactful, and you will hear directly from the commander-in-chief what he was speaking to. And he actually called out mainstream Republicans, Democrats, independents to come join him to help protect, to fight to protect our democracy. So it was about a specific, particular, extreme part of the party that has taken over. And here's the thing, it is up to us in this moment to make sure that we are protecting the values of this country. That's why he did this speech.
Protecting our values, saving our democracy, these abstract buzz phrases that the left uses to cover their authoritarianism, not tendencies. Everything the left advocates is predicated on violence, and it always has been. And so now what do? They say, if you're not with us, then you're an enemy of the state. It is you who present a violent threat to the republic, although they don't know what a republic is, so they just say, save our democracy. In fact, some of them probably do. They just have such a low opinion of people. They use grade school phrases that are not that don't accurately describe what they're attempting to describe, but that's what they do. And so what is the response? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Well, the response yesterday was to keep it going. I mean, they had a heckler yesterday at Milwaukee's Labor Day extravaganza, which really not a lot of people showed up. And here's the heckler who's just, it's Biden's response.
Not a response.
But he targeted him and labeled him as a MAGA Trump supporter.
Okay.
Let him go. No. Don't let him go. Look, everybody's entitled to be an idiot. No, everybody's entitled.
Okay.
No, he goes on. He's a MAGA. This is the extremist. So we need to be
Extreme
fair.
MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and our economic security. They embrace political violence.
So he doubled down about MAGA Republicans and targeted that guy on the crowd like as if he's some threat and extremist and violent.
They've been saying the same thing since, well, really before January 6th. They've been saying it for most of President Trump's term. And they've been saying it certainly since January 6th. Everybody was, I think, apprised of the fact that you, as a Trump voter, if you acknowledged yourself as such,
if you're brave enough to admit it in public,
would be labeled a insurrectionist, a threat to the republic. So why the surprise? Is it just the theatrics? Is it just sort of the nature of the presentation? Why the surprise from the rhetoric? What is surprising about it? Is it new? I don't think so. One of the responses, I'll cede some of my time, to Michigan State political philosophy professor William Allen, who we've had on the show before, thoughtful guy. And he asked the question, who is it exactly that's undermining the republic?
I appreciate that it had the purpose of expelling domestic political opponents from the community designated by we the people. I do not applaud that. The president justified himself by declaring those political opponents enemies of democracy and advocates of political violence. If those charges were true, he could with justice advance his argument. However, he made the argument without offering any specific evidence, either as to opposition to democracy or as to advocacy of the use of political violence. In short, he employed gross generalizations without referencing any evidence in support of his claims. That is, of course, familiar political rhetoric, if also familiarly irresponsible. The so-called wrap-up smear, to quote a noted wag, serves the purpose of ginning up electoral enthusiasm. and it may sometimes influence the outcome of an election. There's a problem, though, in pursuing such vulgar political aims directly from the presidential podium, standing before Independence Hall and planting a flag on the sacred ground, as he put it, of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. The problem specifically is that it misrepresents both the substance and the promise of the founding, arrogating to crass political purposes what demands greater respect as the moral foundation of a blessed way of life.
The wraparound smear, for those not familiar, I cede my time to Nancy Pelosi, who explained what it was some 5 years ago, but since what Professor Allen is referencing, so you explain the purpose of that speech on Thursday night and all of the recasting it that's been done since.
We call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and if they see it's reported in the press that this, and this, so they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic. And it's...
Yeah, it's a tactic.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
So you're an insurrectionist. You're labeled as such. It's reported breathlessly, day after day, month after month, year after year. And now we're at this point where we're 60 days from a midterm, and it's time to merchandise it. And, hey, as I said earlier in the program, you've sinned, but for you non-MAGA Republicans, for those that voted for Trump only because you were uncomfortable with the alternative, whether in 16 or 20 or both, hey, repent and find salvation in the house of divine government with we, the ascendant left. That's the offer. Tina and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. So I just wanted to say, back in I think it was about 2018, my family decided to no longer speak with me because I am a conservative Trump supporter. And I was called a right-wing nut job. I was blocked on all social media. I was no longer invited to family events. My brother has 3 children. I've only met the oldest, or he's got 4. And I've only met the 2 oldest. He's had two daughters with his second wife, and that I've never met, and that I don't know if I will ever meet. And I'm at a place with everything that's going on in this country that if you have children, if you have grandchildren, there used to be this push that you have to know, where your children play. You need to know if there's guns in that home. You need liberals in that home, and keep your kids away from them. That speech was one of the most despicable things I've ever heard in my life. I made myself watch it. It was, to me, it was scary. I also think that he was dropping little clues in that speech. He said over and over again, I will make sure we have a safe election. I'm telling you, they're going to take over the election process at the federal level. That's coming. And then we're in deep, deep trouble, much more so than we are now. I'm working my tail off right now to get out of Illinois because I don't trust that the state is savable. I don't see it. And I think it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous for us to live here anymore. We have no protection under the law. The courts are completely weaponized against us. I live in fear that the IRS is going to be auditing all of us. And here's a funny story. So I got a notice from the state of Illinois about my 2013 taxes that I owed them $12,000. Well, I submitted I always go through an accountant. I submitted all my paperwork. Turns out they owed me $233. Well, because it was over 3 years old, I get nothing. They would have been happy to take the $12,000.
Wow.
But
one-way
years,
streets.
They no longer have to pay.
One-way streets. Yeah, a lot of that here. Thanks for the call, Tina. John in Mundelein.
I got to tell you, Dan, after months of lying that the election was stolen and trying to subvert the process by compelling Mike Pence to set aside electoral votes and then using the lie to compel his mob to go fight like hell to stop the steal on his behalf, it is way overdue for somebody like Joe Biden to finally call out the threat that your ideology represents. It was not an abstraction. It was not a smear. It's the truth about what you represent.
Thanks for the call, John. Always good to hear from the Peanut Gallery. Here's another one. Tom in Deer Park.
Hey, Dan, Amy, good morning. I want to tell you a story. I had my radio off, and I was talking to my...
I don't want to hear stories. Lee and Hammond, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. The one thing I still can't understand, I can't get my brain wrapped around it. People like Jean-Pierre and the rest of the Democrats, are they really that stupid, or do they think the public is that stupid? If I understood her right,
could be both. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that. If from what she said the other day, and pretty much what Biden was saying, if you don't agree with us and our platform and our ideas, you are a terrorist. This is in the freest country in the world, right? I don't even, this is more like Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and for them to turn around and blame the MAGA people for all the violence by Antifa, BLM, and the Summer of Love back in 2020, where they were bailing out these terrorists. I mean, I really can't understand. Are there that many people in this country that really believe what they're saying? I just don't understand.
Thanks for the call, Lee. Again, I think the interesting comments come from people like Professor Allen from Michigan State. Also come from this New American who just posted a video on TikTok. He done everything right to emigrate to this country. Took 18 years for him to become a citizen, and he's voting in his first election this November. He explained what it means to be MAGA, since he identifies as a conservative Republican. He did in the video. Black gentleman, black immigrant to this country. I don't know exactly from which country, but he is. And here's what he said about being MAGA. And you, I guess, make your own decisions. If you're John from Mundelein or Tom from Deer Park, you're just a purveyor of the wraparound smear. But for those that are open-minded, you make your own decisions about this gentleman who immigrated to this country.
We are MAGA because we want to restore the promise in the hearts of our children that this is the place where their efforts will be rewarded and where their true potential can be realized. We are MAGA because we believe in freedom of speech, the freedom to exercise our religion. We believe in limited government and the rule of law. We are MAGA because we love the Constitution and believe our founders established a means for we the people to defend it from enemies both foreign and domestic. I am MAGA because I want to be able to look into the eyes of my 4 black children to assure them that they're not victims, that they hold inside them what it takes to achieve anything they set their hearts on. We believe our leaders should put America and its interests first before any other nation. We believe our government should not saddle our children and grandchildren with insurmountable debt, chasing after a misguided idea of controlling or changing the course of the climate. Millions of us were horrified to witness what happened on January 6th and believe that justice must be served. But we also see through the attempt to paint all Republicans with a false moniker of insurrectionists and to conflate the genuine misgivings of those who feel disaffected and disenfranchised with an unfounded accusation that we are somehow against democracy. We are MAGA because we love law enforcement, but doubt whether the Justice Department or the FBI can be trusted to deal fairly and impartially when they have given us clear and repeated evidence of their political bias against half of the country. As a new American, this November will be the first time I get to exercise my right to vote, a right I've waited nearly 2 decades to earn. I understand the urge during an election season to attack those you see as political opponents. But Mr. President, I am not your enemy, and the tens of millions of MAGA Republicans are not filled with hate towards anyone.
So is he a threat to the soul of the nation or hope for the soul of the nation? You decide.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
From the pitch swung at a little too soon.
Strike three, you're out.
To the joke told at the wrong time. To barely missing your connecting flight.
This is the final boarding call for Flight 109 to Chicago.
Timing is everything. The same can be true for your Social Security benefits. Take them too soon and you could leave a lot of money on the table. Take them too late and you might spend down too much of your savings. Everybody's situation is different, but taking your Social Security benefits at the right time is important for your retirement success. Scott Tucker and his team at Scott Tucker Solutions understand Social Security and can help you make decisions that are best for you and your retirement dreams. Call Scott at 847-474-3888 to start optimizing your benefits today. With Social Security, timing is everything, so don't delay. Call Scott Tucker now, 847-474-3888. That's 847-474-3888. Firm offers insurance services and is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Guys, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all your levels, not just your testosterone. And they determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, your prostate levels, thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month. So make your health a priority. Schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It will be the summer of joy in Chicago.
Instead, the trio of Pritzker, Lightfoot, and Fox have made this another summer of murder, mayhem, and chaos.
My granddaughter FaceTimed us saying, "Help me, Daddy's shot." And then they stood over him and they executed him in front of her. And then they shot at her.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker, the lawlessness of Chicago will soon be the law statewide. Pritzker's so-called Safety Act makes Illinois a safe haven for violent criminals. That's why 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys oppose Pritzker's mandatory release of alleged murderers, kidnappers, and arsonists. Prosecutors like Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow.
It's going to be literally the end of days.
And prosecutors like DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin.
We are going to have violent criminals out on the street.
Stop Chicago violence from coming to your town. Vote no on J.B. Pritzker. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
Friends, listen up. September is the perfect time to hit the reset button and set new goals for yourself. Why? It's National Self-Improvement Month. Oh, how exciting. Think of it as an annual personal checkup. Maybe you want to volunteer, adopt a new exercise routine, read a book, or improve your overall health. I have a suggestion, 120 Life. 120 Life is my go-to juice that helps control my blood pressure. I drink it every day, and I can't stop raving about it. I love it. I know you will too, especially if you have high blood pressure. It's packed with 6 natural ingredients that have amazing health benefits like beetroot, hibiscus, pomegranate, and tart cherry juice. 120 Life tastes refreshing, especially poured over ice. So go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use the coupon code DAN10, Dan, T-E-N, the number 10, to save 10% on your order plus free shipping. And as an added bonus, now you can earn customer rewards points with every order, points you can collect and redeem for discounts up to $50. Better blood pressure numbers in 2 weeks or your money back. That's guaranteed. 120 Life makes it easy to manage high blood pressure. Try it today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll talk Amendment 1 and other relevant state and local policy topics with Ted Browski from wirepoints.com, our weekly confab with Ted at 7:37.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 66 degrees at 7:32, and a federal judge will appoint a special master to review documents seized from former President Donald Trump's South Florida estate. President Biden going on the attack after Republicans in speeches on Labor Day.
Nearly a week now, Biden has been delivering the tax on his predecessor in the 70 million plus Americans who voted for him. And he's hoping to rally his base, launching a tax on Republican candidates like Senator Ron Johnson, tying them to January 6th.
Senator Johnson said it was, by and large, a peaceful protest. Have you seen the videos?
Johnson responded in a statement saying President Biden confirmed he has become the divider in chief. Not only have his policies been a disaster for hardworking Wisconsinites, he continued his dishonest attacks against me.
Fox's Griff Jenkins at the White House. California officials strongly urging residents to conserve energy to avoid rolling blackouts today. Lee Zeldin appears to be closing the gap on Kathy Hochul in the upcoming New York governor's race. New polling this morning by the Trafalgar Group says the current governor leads the Long Island GOP congressman by under 4 points. That's a stark contrast to earlier polling numbers where Hochul led Zeldin by double digits just a few weeks ago. This morning, major Wall Street firms are making a demand. Employees, come back to work. With summer officially over, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs calling on all of their workers to get back in the office 5 days a week. There are reports J.P. Morgan Chase and some tech companies are starting to have workers come in at least 3 days a week. R. Kelly's federal trial here in Chicago is on hold. The Dirksen Federal Courthouse closed today due to operational issues. A man is dead. Police say he was shot while attacking security with an axe outside of a marijuana dispensary in the Greektown neighborhood. Guards began arguing with that man yesterday outside the dispensary over return policies. The man began swinging that axe, struck the security guard several times. The guard then shot the man, who was pronounced dead. The security guard remains hospitalized with slashes to the leg. The Lightfoot administration is asking the public for volunteers and donations to help immigrants being bused to the city from Texas amid the Republican-led state's political battle over illegal immigration policies endorsed by the Biden administration. Another busload of 50 migrants arrived on Sunday. White Sox beat the Mariners 3-2. Southsiders take on the M's again tonight. Cubs start a home set with the Reds at Wrigley Field. The news service of the Daybreak Insider podcast, the most important stories each weekday morning on the Daybreak Insider podcast. 7:35. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk wonders if the GOP wants to lose.
Right now, Republicans should have the wind at their back. Red wave is what we were told. They're worried that a legitimate tsunami is brewing in this country, and your Republican establishment is worried that might be hard to manage. They're afraid that there is something bubbling up, and they don't want to play into that.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. Well, we just celebrated Labor Day, a day set aside to honor and recognize organized labor. In Illinois, it's what we do every day. Unions reign here. The imprint of union bosses is in every decision passed through the legislature. They control the politicians who control the state. Never satisfied, though, the unions want more. And so, this November, voters will determine how serious they are about making Illinois a state that can still compete for jobs and residents. On the ballot in November is Amendment 1. If passed, it will change our Constitution in ways that give union workers super rights and make all other taxpayers subservient to their demands. Amendment 1 would be the first constitutional provision of its kind in the nation. It would make organizing and bargaining a fundamental right, allow negotiations over limitless subjects, prohibit lawmakers from limiting union power, and ban right to work. The amendment would allow government unions to override more than 350 provisions currently in law related to schools, children, and other residents. Unions could negotiate over items of work safety and economic welfare. Taxpayers, get ready to hand over the keys to your home and the password to your debit card. Illinois already has a difficult time attracting businesses. The Pritzker administration would like nothing better than to have more green energy companies here. But the state lost another battery plant to Indiana, a right-to-work state. We are 0 for 18 in this category. If Amendment 1 passes, businesses will take a pass on us. Amendment 1 is the most detrimental piece of legislation to the future growth of Illinois ever put forth. I'm Jeannie Ives. To find out more about this topic and others, sign up for my newsletter and listen to my podcast at breakthrough-ideas.com. That's breakthrough-ideas.com.
Remember to eat your fruits and vegetables. We all remember these words from our childhood. But how does anyone have time to buy, store, prepare, and eat enough healthy fruits and vegetables in our busy lives? Balance of Nature keeps it simple. Our produce is powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. The produce is then mixed into a scientifically researched blend designed with your body in mind. Once these blends are encapsulated, they are packaged and sent right to your door, so you can get all the benefits of a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables every day. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468-751. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen? That'll save space in your cabinet? To learn more, visit simplegreen.com.
7:39. Quick check on those roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. It's a service of the AM 560 store where you can order T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University at 560theanswer.com/store. We'll start on Route 53 where there is an accident. Northbound between Dundee. The delay starts at Dundee to right before Lake Cook Road where the accident sits right now. Northbound from I-290 up to Lake Cook Road is a 17-minute commute. Tri-State jammed up northbound. Reagan up to the Ike Merge. To Sabo Lakeshore Drive is slow northbound. Stevenson to Monroe. And the Dan Ryan this morning, stop and go Stevenson into the Circle interchange. It's 27 minutes, 95th into the Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A morning shower in spots, otherwise warmer, with clouds breaking by the afternoon and a high of 79. Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL. 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out. I said, when
Top of the morning,
moving
Dan
out.
and Amy. That theme music means it's time for a weekly confab with Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoints.com, all things Illinois policy related. Before we get to Ted, a couple of cleanup notes. One on just the whole finger pointing about who's the authoritarian. I think Lance Morrow, I mentioned his piece earlier in the show, mentioned again the Journal over the weekend. Lance Morrow, cultural commentary, part of the cultural commentariat, if you will, not a fan of Trump. But he recognizes, because he's got great historical perspective, he recognizes the impulse of the central planner of the cultural Marxist when he sees it. He writes, if there are fascists in America these days, they're apt to be found among the tribes of the left. They're Mr. Biden and his people, whose opinions have since January 6 hardened into absolute faith that any party or political belief system except their own is illegitimate, impermissible, inhuman, monstrous, and a threat to democracy, of course. The evolution of their overprivileged emotions, sentimentality gone fanatic, something I've talked about for years, the sentimental barbarian. This is what it looks like. The evolution of their overprivileged emotions has led them in 2022 to embrace Mussolini's formula. All within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. And that's what you heard from John from Mundelein when we were talking about this in the last segment. One of our Mussolini devotees who calls in. That's where it's at. And all you have to do is see how it plays out locally, where they cheer one-man rule in Illinois. 33 executive orders in a row, as we discussed with Keith Pekau earlier in the program. State of emergency, 33 months in a row, long after our neighboring states.
Oh, yeah.
And those governors, including Democrats like Evers to our north, have ceased and desisted with the consolidation of power, or the attempt to consolidate power in one office for one man.
And whenever a reporter asks Governor Pritzker why, I mean, we had Lollapalooza, we have, life has moved on. He attacks the reporter. Why do you keep asking me that question? Our friend Greg Bishop at, Center Square. The same.
Because we keep asking the same question because you keep doing the same thing. So we'd like to know why you're continuing to do it. That's
and he won't answer the question.
Pretty good basis for it. And it doesn't matter what the evidence is. It will be spun out. So we mentioned in our conversation with Pekau about the test scores. New study out about NAEP reading and math scores for fourth graders. Historic drops over the last 2 years. And it's dismissed. You see it on Twitter. I post on Twitter. It's dismissed. Oh, and then the schools that opened earlier, so no benefit relative to those who didn't. Okay. Just another study published in June of this year, Sweden, where the schools never closed because almost all the schools closed for some portion of time here. Swedish researchers looked at 97,000 Swedish primary school students, grades 1 through 3, looking for potential learning loss. Quoting from the abstract, results showed that word decoding and reading comprehension scores were not lower during the pandemic compared to before the pandemic, that students from low socioeconomic backgrounds were not especially affected, and that the proportion of students with weak decoding skills did not increase during the pandemic. We conclude that open schools benefited Swedish primary school students. It's just one more study on the pile to address, but it should be addressed because that's a real comparison between, say, suburban schools that are relatively homogenous, some suburban school districts that are relatively homogenous, like Swedish schools, and they were closed for some significant period of time, and the Swedish schools were not. But okay. Just dismiss it all. It had no impact. It was just, generally speaking, the pandemic. These are the sort of the generic excuses they make for everything that is not where it should be. Threats to our democracy, some toxic ideology that they can't define. Okay. What you choose to accept. Ted Dabrowski, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. Good morning.
So what you've looked at, I mean, is there any question in your mind based on the evidence that we have to this point about the impact on learning from school shutdowns?
Well, let me give you one stat that I found interesting that was in the Wall Street Journal, part of a publication. It's been a few months ago, but in Florida, they kept their schools open, or let me say it this way, 96% of the state's kids remained in classroom during the pandemic, 96%. So they were open. In Illinois, it was 37% of children on average were in school during the pandemic. That's a massive, massive difference, and we know how failed remote learning was. So to me, there's no question, and we're going to be releasing some of the data. You guys have already released some, but we're going to show across the state the performance between 2021 and 2019, and it's pretty phenomenal it's amazing, actually, the drops in learning, not just in the really nice areas, in all areas. You can see it in math scores, reading scores. It's pretty phenomenal.
Well, what kind of declines were we seeing? And it was mostly in math or more in reading or both?
Oh, both. And we're talking about even what was interesting is, and I have to look at the data, we'll release it, but, some school districts that were up in the 60%, so this is the better schools, 60% in reading proficiency, they dropped down to like 30 and 40. You're talking about 30 and 40 percentage point drops. It was massive. And then, of course, you've got places like Chicago and others that were already so low, and they became even lower. So it's pitiful across the board.
I wanted to get your distillation on another topic that we're getting a lot of emails about. People want to understand it. This Amendment 1 ballot initiative on the November ballot in Illinois that would codify collective bargaining rights for unions in Illinois. And, of course, the question becomes, well, what's the big problem? I mean, Republicans say, like me, I'm all for collective bargaining rights. If people want to try and organize and establish a bargaining unit, then they have the right to do that. So what's the problem with just codifying it in the Constitution?
Yeah, this is probably the biggest deal there is, this biggest vote on the November ballot, bigger than governor, bigger than Supreme Court. I argue, the more I look at this, I argue that this is even worse than the Pension Protection Clause. And there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of the fake advertising that we see about what it does. But the reality is this. It will create the strongest, massive powers for the Illinois public sector unions, and it'll forget the laws. It'll put all that power right into the Constitution so that it will be almost impossible to ever bring down property taxes again, which if some people want that, that's good, right? If they want more government union powers, that's good for them if they want it. But
yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that property taxes are too low in Illinois. So maybe they'll
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Ralph Martiri and other guys say they want higher taxes overall. They want to pay for more stuff. They want more safety for workers, all this kind of stuff. And, what Amendment 1 does is it says, forget our laws. We're going to put all these collective bargaining powers and new rights for workers. Here's what happens. These rights for workers protect their safety. This is a new word. And also economic welfare. So imagine this scenario, and this is the scary one. With this in the Constitution, imagine a school district, and it's not hard to imagine. Imagine the unions at a school district putting into the contract, we want the sex ed stuff starting in kindergarten. We want all the CRT stuff ASAP. And they put that in the contract. And because the public doesn't get to find out what's in the contract until after it's signed in Illinois, well, that would be part of the collective bargaining agreement. And because it's now protected by the Illinois Constitution, imagine trying to unwind that. If there's any chance of it, it'll be litigated forever in the courts, and the unions will keep pointing at the Constitution, just like they do for pensions, to say, hey, sorry, this is part of our agreement. You can't. You're damaging our safety if you take out that stuff. So it creates a new hell for Illinois, and I think it's going to be far worse than the Pension Protection Clause.
So just to be clear, so the collective bargaining agreements, including those where in the public sector, where they're on both sides of the negotiating table, right? They're financing the politicians they're negotiating with, which is why people like, the FDR and the founder of the AFL-CIO oppose public sector unions. But I digress. They strike a deal, and that will have constitutional protection. So if you passed a state statute to try to change the structure of pensions or taxpayer-provided health insurance or whatever, they would have override because our agreement is protected by constitutional sanction.
That's right. So, the amendment actually says two things. One, it enshrines all those powers, gives all those powers to the public sector unions. But number two, it says no laws shall be passed that diminish, interfere with. So in other words, once we get that in the Constitution, legislature don't even think about passing any laws that mess with our powers. Wow. And what's fascinating about this, Dan and Amy, is that some Republicans voted for this.
Of course they did.
And they
which Republicans voted for this?
Of course they did.
What are they arguing that? Why are they arguing that this is needed?
They're arguing, I'm afraid of the public sector unions.
Or they're saying, I need their vote?
Yeah, and they're saying, also, there's a whole confusion about whether this covers the private sector. But the private sector, all this safety and stuff, you'll see these commercials about protecting nurses, private sector nurses and all that. It's not true. The federal law covers the private sector, and it preempts anything the state would do. So when you see these commercials, they're just untrue. This amendment will have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, why do we have
a little kid?
Why do we have a National Labor Relations Board then?
Exactly. So with that, then it's all about powers for the public sector union.
Just to be clear, so what they're going to do, public sector unions will lock in their unsustainable salary increases and associated pension and health care benefits, and there is no chance ever that they will go anything other than up, subject to bankruptcy and some sort of federal receivership that Illinois goes into. But I mean, just in terms of what happens at the state level, you can just forget it, that this codifies that we're all here as spare parts to be used by the public sector unions as they see fit.
Yeah, that's correct, Dan. That's number one. And number two, it's even worse than that because they codify these new rights for workers, and these rights are going to be equivalent to freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And those rights protect workers' economic welfare and safety. So now that means, and this is undefined in the Constitution, so that means they can stick in all kinds of things in the contracts that protect their safety, their economic welfare. So think affordable housing, maybe defund the police, maybe increased rights around the whole transgender movement. That can all be put into a contract because those are the new rights they have. And then because they're codified because they're in the Constitution, and the amendment says no law shall be passed that diminish those rights. Well, then what the heck's going to happen? What are people left with? And by the way, it disarms the legislature because now the legislature can do nothing. So we have removed policy, whether it's property tax policy or parents' rights policies. We've removed it from the legislature, cemented it in the Constitution, and thrown away the keys.
And you could have laws like they're moving in California to provide a tax credit for union dues. So
why not?
Yeah, why not? Why should they have to pay union dues? Let's all pay it. Socialize the cost of union dues.
Yeah, that's the big move there, is that a tax deduction for the unions paying their dues, and so it makes it cheaper. The public pays for it. It just means that the public sector unions here can go crazy. Now, again, a lot of people might like that. A lot of people don't like parents meddling in the sex ed stuff in school. So, there's people who support that. But, the opposite side of that is a whole bunch of parents who say, man, get that stuff out of my classroom. This amendment is not for them. So it's going to be a heated battle. But I think here's the important point, Dan and Amy. I don't hear any legislators talking about this. We're seeing ads being put up by the yes side, but no response about what it is, why it's good, why it's bad on why it's bad on the other side. Nobody. There's no leadership. Nothing there.
Well, can somebody get on that?
Spells the problem with Illinois.
Because those ads that I've been seeing with the nurse saying, I'm protecting this 3-0, but now because of that, I might lose my job. They're pretty effective, but people don't understand that that's not true, that ad.
True, right. Yeah, they're very effective ads. I mean, I think they're well done, but that's a scary part, and there's no opposition to it. There's no organized opposition. There's no leadership. And I think kind of spells back to your point, Dan, when isn't coming soon enough right now, because there is no leadership at this level in the state. And until that happens, maybe we're 4 years away from it, but it's not here now.
Boy, what will things look like here 4 years from now if not only nothing changes, but to the extent anything changes, it's just to codify this measure in the Constitution. I wouldn't want to have a lot of assets in Illinois, I'll tell you that, Ted. One thing, too, just some commentary, since Wire Points has been so Johnny on the spot, documenting all of the particulars with respect to our summer of joy and what's happened to public safety and how it's deteriorated over the last couple of years in particular. Some perspective on, winding down the summer of joy here, a couple weeks to go, with another 9 dead and 50 shot this weekend, and that horrific Lakeview robbery that, if it wasn't caught on a doorbell cam, would just go down as a unremarkable robbery. But it speaks, in my view, the woman screaming as she's being robbed by those three men who jumped her on the sidewalk in Lakeview. It speaks to the sort of terror that so many residents of Chicago feel, but I don't know. They won't give voice to, or they won't connect the dots between why they feel uneasy about living in the city and who's in charge of the city.
Yeah, I think the dots are all still messed up. There's still too much power for Lightfoot and others to keep blaming racism. There's too many people who still just hear that and instinctively embrace it rather than challenge it. I don't think there's enough. The media coverage is pretty good of the crime, however, is pretty poor of covering the real situation. So I think we're still waiting. But the more and more of those that happen, sadly, the worse it's going to get. And just by the way, Dan, I think we need some kind of counter for the weekends, because I think the latest numbers are now 62 shot, 14 fatal. So it grows faster than we can keep up with.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's coming to the ER.
Updated hourly, right?
Yep.
Just another weekend in the Summer of Joy, during the Summer of Joy. Ted Dabrowski, President at WirePoints, wirepoints.com, all things Illinois policy related. Ted, thanks as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a physician. I've been in practice for 40 years. When I started taking this, I don't like medicines, and I probably have taken more people off medicine than I put on it. And so I looked at it, and it's pretty much a natural element. And there's no question in my mind, knowing a lot of patients, that people my age, 60 and over, do not eat right. And they certainly don't get the appropriate nutrients through the vegetables, fruits, and things like that. So I think that it supplies the building blocks that your body normally would use to heal itself. And if you don't get them, you don't heal right. So it's amazing. I mean, I'm doing what I did 2 years ago.
Start your journey to better health. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
Dad, I picked up your pills, made your lunch, and your laundry is done.
When you care for a loved one, you take care of everything. But are you taking care of yourself? Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
State troopers and comfort dogs. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. They're joining teachers welcoming kids back to school in Uvalde, Texas, where the return was pushed back after May's massacre that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead at Robb Elementary, though no students are going there today. It'll be torn down.
School had to be delayed to open so that they could make sure that these safety measures were in place. One of the most obvious ones is the 8-foot-tall fencing.
Kelly Saberi with Austin's Fox 7 TV.
Some parents have some hesitation, saying not every school has been modified equally. Some parents tell us they've opted to move their kids into the virtual academy that Uvalde offers.
Britain has a new prime minister. Liz Truss took over for Boris Johnson after meeting with the Queen this morning. Election day here is now 9 weeks away. President Biden spent Labor Day campaigning in 2 key states, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, again taking aim at Trump-supporting Republicans he claims are
destroying democracy. Because democracy is at stake.
The Republican response this morning?
Joe Biden is an old and angry man.
Congressman David Kustoff tells Fox Business.
To take his aggression out on half of the nation or more than half of the nation, he should be embarrassed.
There's more shelling today around that Ukraine nuclear power plant, feared to be in danger of a catastrophe. Russians took it over early in the invasion, and fighting in and around the facility yesterday knocked it for a time off the electricity grid. Russia is rearming itself, buying up rockets and artillery, and doing it by getting them from North Korea. And that's something that the New York Times had reported.
The weapons would be used by Russia in their war against Ukraine. That, according to a newly downgraded U.S. intelligence finding first reported by the New York Times. The report appears to indicate that the move by Russia shows how its military is suffering from severe supply shortages partially caused by sanctions.
Ryan Schmelz, America's listening to Fox.
67 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The death of a 2-month-old boy in Moni being ruled a homicide. Police say first responders were called out on August 31st, all due to an infant who was not breathing at a truck stop on Manhattan-Moni Road. Seven Simons was taken to the hospital and died of blunt force trauma to the head. A woman is dead, shot last month on Chicago's north side. The victim, one of two women shot, sitting in a car back on August 25th. The other woman remains hospitalized in critical condition. According to unofficial expert tallies, 14 were killed over the long Labor Day holiday weekend in Chicago. At least 55 were wounded. People who live in neighborhoods on the north side are asking for wider police presence after a woman was attacked and robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight. It happened around 3 p.m. Sunday. The 45-year-old woman was assaulted by three in masks and hoodies who jumped out of a car, pushed that female victim to the ground. Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza has tested positive for COVID-19. Mendoza's office says she's canceled a full slate of events, including an important address on Illinois finances that was scheduled for the City Club later today. White Sox took down the Mariners 3-2, and A.J. Pollock and Elvis Andrus went deep in that win. Cubs start a set with the Reds at Wrigley Field. The news is a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Futures are pointing to some gains on Wall Street after 3 weeks of losses. Recent anxiety in the markets has been fed by concerns the Federal Reserve will be more aggressive, raising interest rates for longer to fight inflation. That's raised concerns of a global slowdown. That's also prompted OPEC Plus producers to reduce oil output. Porsche is going public, listing on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange later this month or early October. Its parent company, Volkswagen, expects the listing of Porsche will give the company greater independence. Bed Bath & Beyond shares are trading under $9. The stock was over $23 in mid-August. The company's chief financial officer, Gustavo Arnald, committed suicide on Friday. The company's sales slumped in recent months. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Tickets are on sale now for Freedom Summit 2022, presented by Matrix Home Solutions, coming to the Westin Chicago Northwest and Itasca on Saturday, November 5th. This year's lineup features Larry Elder, Brandon Tatum, Alex Berenson, Jenna Ellis, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets for this event sell out every year, so don't wait. Get yours today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Matrix Industrial Design and by Oliver the Ornament.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
One of the things we have learned in the past year, technology is a must. You must have good data and cell service inside your building. Do you have bad service? Let's fix that. This is Kelly Piles. My company is PC Net Services. We fix that bad data and cellular connection inside your building and stop the complaints. It's not as complicated as you might think, but it does make a difference. We work with all major cellular carriers and data communications companies across the nation. We can improve your cellular and data signal in your building with every carrier. No more dropped calls, no more complaints. First responders, firefighters, and government agencies have used us to create a better cellular signal inside their building. We could do the same for you. A veteran-owned company, PC Net Services, connecting you to the world.
Get better cell service in your building, no matter which carrier. For a free analysis, call PC Net Services, 815-545-4439, 815-545-4439.
Hi, Larry Elder here. I never really thought much about how aches and pains can reduce a person's quality of life until pain started keeping me from living my best life. Just a few years ago, using the stairs was difficult because of the back pain. Then I found Relief Factor, a 100% drug-free solution for aches and pains. Within a week, I was on my way back to being pain-free. Now I have my life back. I take Relief Factor every single day. Relief Factor can help your body fight the inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain and the other aches and pains that come with everyday life. Treat yourself to feeling better. Move more, live more, and just enjoy your life more with Relief Factor. Join me and more than 500,000 others. Get started today with your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. About 70% go on to order more because it worked for them. Go to ReliefFactor.com to order now. That's ReliefFactor.com. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. ReliefFactor.com.
8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, this update is service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Around the clock, all day, every day. Listen now, danamy247.com. Inbound Eden's at 42 heavy minutes. Lake Hook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound, it's an hour and 16 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound, 73 minutes right now from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson just under an hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in 26 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A morning shower in spots, otherwise clouds and breaks of sun today. The high at 79. Clear tonight, low 65. Sunshine, nice day tomorrow. The high at 85. Sunny for Thursday, terrific afternoon, high 85. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
67 at O'Hare, next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We didn't speak with this next candidate during the primary because she didn't have a primary. She is the Republican nominee for Illinois State Comptroller. She is up against Susana Mendoza,
who we just learned has COVID.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Are you laughing at her
I'm not.
life-threatening illness?
No, it's just,
Yeah.
I was shocked that it made the news. I'll just say that.
Shocked that it made the news.
Elected.
Why? I mean, they probably sent out a press release. They had a press release to cancel events. She's going into a hyperbaric chamber. She's consulting with Dr. Ezike and all
She's
the
not
top people.
hospitalized, so that's good. That's
yeah,
good. Yes.
yeah. She's had she's had 14 jabs, and she's taking her body weight in Paxlovid and so on and so forth. Yeah, we get it. No, I know it's very serious. Anyway, that Susana Mendoza is the incumbent, another Chicago Democrat hack. Remember, she briefly
Tried to be mayor.
After
she said she wasn't going to run for mayor. And that was her big lie back then.
Well, the people compelled her.
Oh,
but
that's
they didn't
right.
compel her enough to get her into the runoff. It wasn't that compelling. Shannon Teresi is the Republican nominee. She's the current McHenry auditor. And she is the Republican nominee for Illinois Comptroller. More information on her candidacy, Shannon Teresi, Teresi, shannonteresi.com is the website. Shannon Teresi, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dan and Amy.
So, you know how it is with you financial people, nobody knows what you do or understands it. So explain what it is the comptroller does and why it's important and why Mendoza is unqualified and why you should replace her.
Right. So the comptroller's office is the chief accountant for the state of Illinois. It's like the CFO position. And Mendoza is not even an accountant. She's a career politician. And I am running because Illinois is the most corrupt, fiscally mismanaged, highest tax state in the nation right now. And I am a certified fraud examiner. I am a CPA. I'm an actual accountant. I am a certified internal auditor with a proven track record and financial leadership experience the state has never had before in the history of the comptroller's office.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Have we ever had a CPA for comptroller, an accounting professional for an accounting job?
Yeah.
It's just crazy enough to work. Have we ever had a CPA? Do you know? I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh my God. Well, then what does she do? Like, what would be your first line of business if and when you beat her?
So the comptroller's office should be working with every state department to do business differently and working with the General Assembly. It's the second most powerful position on the state level and can dramatically change around the state's finances. Corruption, that office has one of the most to do with addressing corruption and fraud, waste, and abuse because it should be working with the Inspector General's office, and it sees the most transactions and knows the highest risks that should be addressed by the General Assembly. It's the biggest microphone for addressing businesses and making sure they're coming to the state as well. And Mendoza right now has misplaced $1.6 billion in the comptroller's office, and that was just in the news recently.
Well, I mean, 1.6. I mean, if you're going to 1.6 billion, if you're going to nitpick, I mean, that seems. So she's misplaced 1.6. How do you misplace 1.6 billion dollars? It's just not accounted for on the financial statements.
Right. There was some duplicated entries that in between Frericks and Mendoza's office with reports that are not properly accounted for. And it's very material. They should be doing estimates to make sure they're getting the right numbers, except she's leading an army of accountants and she has no clue what she's doing. She doesn't know the difference between a balance sheet or a bus schedule.
She must have somebody that works with her who might know what she's doing, a possible CPA or a real accountant.
Has anybody in her office bought a horse farm or an RV recently?
Yeah.
I just wonder.
Right. No, yeah, she does have accountants that work with her, but it needs proper leadership and tone at the top. And that's what I've done as the McHenry County Auditor. I also was the financial reporting manager at the county. I've prepared government-wide financial statements and worked with every department to do business differently. We now have no debt in McHenry County, and we rebated back money back to the taxpayer as well. And this is what can be done on the state of Illinois is just proper financial management can go a long way in fixing the state's finances.
Cut spending, Dan.
That is just crazy enough to work. Proper financial management. One of the laments of Illinoisans is okay, I'll pay my taxes, but the thing that really riles me is the money doesn't go where they say it's going to go. So they guilt you into pay your fair share because we're providing services to people with disabilities and we're doing these seniors on fixed incomes. And then you come to find out through reporting of various, instances of skullduggery that the money doesn't go where they said it was going to go. And that really upsets people. At least my money's going to help somebody who's in need. And it turns out that may not be the case. And this is something that the Comptroller can ride point on, right?
Exactly. They should be doing a statewide initiative to address fraud, waste, and abuse, working with the Inspector General's office. They should task every Illinoisan with reporting fraud, waste, and abuse. And one of the responsibilities of the Comptroller's office is actually auditing the bills when they come in. They need to make sure they're actually paying a valid invoice, not a duplicated payment or chapstick. Like we had an elected official who wanted chapstick with their name on it just so they could hand out at events. This is not a valid expense. It's actually illegal on the state level.
Yeah.
And so they need to make sure that they're enforcing the laws with the bills, but they're not spending the time auditing. And as a certified fraud examiner, I have experience and a background to address this and to work with the employees to make sure they're focusing their energy. So money's not wasted and we're putting more money back in our pockets.
You sound so sensible.
That would be
obviously you have our support.
That'd be fun. As sort of a paraphrasing David Shostokis' primary campaign slogan, he ran for Attorney General, make crime illegal again. Make fraud illegal again in Illinois. That's maybe make fraud illegal again. That's a novel concept. One of the issues that you hear every 4 years when these offices are up, the Comptroller and the Treasurer, you're hearing it now too. I think I've heard it from Demmer running for Treasurer. It's sort of tired because it's just one of those positions like eliminating the Department of Education at the federal level. It's something that politicians say, but it never gets done. The idea of consolidating these two offices, Comptroller and Treasurer, even if it could be done, which it can't, is it a good idea?
Yeah, it can be done because there could be separate internal controls and transparency. The Auditor General audits Mendoza's office as well and could be specifically testing and checking to make sure there's separation and segregation of duties. However, right now, they can be working together, the Comptroller's office and the Treasurer's office, to utilize shared resources such as vehicles. They could, both of them, pool their vehicles to save money. They have separate HR, separate IT divisions within each of their offices, and they could set up an intergovernmental agreement. But Mendoza has campaigned on it and has not brought it up. And right now she has an old way of thinking of things in her office. In the auditor's office in McHenry County, we pay bills in minutes. We set up an electronic process using technology, and it's completely transparent approvals, so we could send things back, reject or approve payments based on if they're valid payment in minutes. And so this is what needs to be done. They need to bring the offices into the 21st century.
She is Shannon Teresi. She is the Republican nominee for Illinois Comptroller. That's the website is Shannon, a woman's name, Shannon Teresi, TERESI.com, ShannonTeresi.com for more information on her campaign, to get involved, to make a donation, ShannonTeresi.com. Shannon Teresi, thanks for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yep, good luck. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees? Turn to Monarch Technical Services. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using Blueprint, Shop Math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Their quality skills assessor was once a plant manager who worked on manufacturing equipment, so he recognizes who has the skills to fit each job requirement. Monarch Technical now offers a 30-day free trial with any day one direct hire. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid. And they have a unique payment option which allows the finder's fee to be paid in 6 equal monthly payments. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year and searching for exceptional talent, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221. That's 847-342-1221, or online at monarchtechnical.com. That's monarchtechnical.com. Guys, a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all of your levels, not just your testosterone, and then determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, your prostate levels, thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month. Make your health a priority. Schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
And now, a special announcement from the Mancini Law Group. Over the course of 4 decades, contaminated drinking water at North Carolina's U.S. Marine Corps base, Camp Lejeune, put hundreds of thousands of people at risk for cancer and other serious illnesses. If you or a loved one lived, worked, or were present at Camp Lejeune for at least 30 days between August 1st, 1953 and December 31st, 1987, and developed cancer or a serious illness due to the base's toxic water supply, you could be eligible for substantial financial compensation. This also applies to individuals who were in utero during the aforementioned time period. Don't just call any toll-free number. Call the Mancini Law Group. They're a quality local law firm that will give your case the attention it deserves. Contact the Mancini Law Group today for a no-cost case evaluation at 773-745-1909. That's 773-745-1909. Again, 773-745-1909, or online at mancinilaw.com. That's mancinilaw.com.
Lose that summer vacation weight quickly and reset your metabolism with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses technology that consists of hair and saliva sampling to customize a personal weight loss program just for you. Contact NJ Diet today, and they will contractually guarantee you'll shed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. NJ Diet is a hormone detoxification system that evaluates and targets each individual person's needs, then balances your hormones where the side effect is weight loss. Then NJ Diet utilizes DNA testing to create your personal diet plan and workout regimen so you can keep the weight off. Full supervision is provided every step of the way, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet is all natural. No shots, no hormones, no prepackaged foods, and no surgery. Appointments available in Skokie and Oak Brook or from home with live online video consultation. So call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. Or log on to njdiet.com to lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, it's still hot and humid out. Do you feel it? Because eventually that leads to your living area. And right now, Permaseal has a system, a dehumidification system, that's better than the stuff you buy at the big box store. So call them today for a free estimate. 800-421-SEAL. Again, 800-421-SEAL. And also, if you have cracked or sunken driveway, you can call Permaseal. If your sidewalk's uneven, Permaseal. If your patio or garage floors are sinking, you know who to call. It's Permaseal. Their poly-level solution will put an end to dangerous trip hazards and eyesores. Folks, it's the quickest, least expensive, and most durable system to repair your sunken concrete. Have a healthy home. Contact Permaseal today. Don't replace it, raise it. 800-421-7325 or online at permaseal.net.
You've worked hard your entire life to provide for yourself and family, but the one thing you can provide them that will last forever is your legacy. For over 180 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago in helping them set their legacies in stone. With interest-free financing and low monthly payments, now is the time to set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 today to schedule a free consultation.
I don't have a lot of it. I was helping out a friend, John Anthony, and gave him some balance of nature. And I'm hoping we get some coming in today. But want him to try it out, see if he can get more energy, because he says he's not eating enough fruits and veggies on his own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules. You are getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables. And you hear stories on this station all the time about how people's lives have changed by taking Balance of Nature. Well, guess what? The next success story could be yours. So order your bottles of fruits and veggies today. 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
The dollar is in grave danger as Russia and China recruit more nations into their anti-dollar alliance known as BRICS. If this continues, how much longer until the dollar is worthless? Stephen K. Bannon here. I urge you to get Birch Gold's free info kit on safeguarding your savings into a gold IRA. To get your free copy, text the word safeguard to 989898. With inflation continuing to explode, it's critical you take action today. Text safeguard to 989898 right now.
Before Bamboo HR, I feel like crying just thinking about it.
We were still handling everything via paper, and we literally had paper stacked.
It was all in spreadsheets and like folders.
From the moment I started using it, I felt calmer.
As soon as we started using the Bamboo onboarding checklist, I mean, it was extremely easy.
Headcount, turnover, years of service. There's just so many different reports that I use at different points in time.
I'm totally set free to focus on the people, to focus on development, to focus on team dynamics.
It's freeing me up to do more of the stuff that actually matters in HR, which is interacting with people, learning from them, and then building stuff for them.
Everything is in this one place. I can't even imagine what it would be like without Bamboo HR.
We're Bamboo HR, and we'd love to set you free to do great work. Come try our award-winning all-in-one HR software for free with no strings attached. Visit bamboohr.com/HR for this free trial offer. That's bamboohr.com/HR.
AM 560, The Answer.
Real quickly, we have number 33. Prosecutors say a Chicago man on electronic monitoring for allegedly shooting a woman in 2020 got another gun and killed his half-sister's boyfriend in their home Saturday night. So this is the 33rd person accused of killing or shooting or attempting to kill or shoot someone in Chicago while waiting trial for a felony. that has been rearrested.
Just this year.
Just this year.
Yeah.
67 victims, 15 of whom have died, including the one on Saturday night.
All preventable, but that means you have to change the leadership of the city and the state, and the county. So we'll see if people are interested in doing that in November. Coming up at 8:38, Michael Hartney, Manhattan Institute adjunct fellow. We'll ask him about Randy Weingarten's assertion, the head of the American Federation for Teachers, that teachers don't really want to become political activists. They're forced to by politicians. 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 66 degrees, 8:32. Authorities in southwestern China maintaining strict COVID-19 lockdown measures on the city of 21 million in spite of a major earthquake that has killed 65. The search for 9 missing after a float plane crashed into the waters northwest of Seattle has been suspended. The body of a 10th person recovered by a Good Samaritan Sunday. Special master will review documents seized from former President Donald Trump's South Florida estate. That according to a judge who agreed to appoint that independent third party to conduct that review. We're hearing from Memphis television stations this morning that a body found over the weekend is that of Eliza Fletcher. Security video shows the 34-year-old mother of 2 being abducted while jogging near the University of Memphis. Memphis police had reported a body was found around 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Officers have arrested a 38-year-old man. America's ambassador to Russia is leaving his post and will retire. State Department saying that Ambassador John Sullivan has now left Moscow, where he served for nearly 3 years. Liz Truss is in. Boris Johnson is out as British Prime Minister. She is the 3rd woman to serve as PM. R. Kelly's federal trial in Chicago on hold for today at the Dirksen Federal Building due to operational issues at that building. A man is dead after police say he was shot while attacking a security guard with an axe outside of a marijuana dispensary in the Greektown neighborhood. And people who live in neighborhoods on the north side are asking for a wider police presence after a woman was attacked and robbed in broad daylight around 3 p.m. on Sunday. White Sox beat the Mariners 3-2. Cubs and Reds tonight at Wrigley. And the Sky try to stamp their ticket to the WNBA Finals tonight. The news service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. 8:34. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants us to prepare.
We have a battle ahead of us. We have turmoil in America. We've got to be ready to fight. Not physically, but at the ballot box, with ideas, with logic, with wisdom, with clarity. I know this.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Tom Goleb, Chief Financial Officer of Navitas Systems, a leader in the next generation of advanced battery technology and a customer of Signature Bank. A few years ago, I heard Signature Bank on an AM 560 radio ad, just as our previous commercial bank was being acquired. I knew Mick O'Rourke and Kevin Bastuga from a prior enterprise. I valued my relationship with them and the way they worked to earn my trust and my business. So I decided to give Signature Bank a call. They took the time to understand our early stage technology company that has its own set of challenges. Signature Bank took care of us, and now we are satisfied customers.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Guys, a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all of your levels, not just your testosterone, and then determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, your prostate levels, thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month. Make your health a priority. Schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you. When you do, Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It will be the summer of joy in Chicago.
Instead, the trio of Pritzker, Lightfoot, and Fox have made this another summer of murder, mayhem, and chaos.
My granddaughter FaceTimed us saying, help me, Daddy's shot. And then he stood over him and they executed him in front of her. And then they shot at her.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker, the lawlessness of Chicago will soon be the law statewide. Pritzker's so-called Safety Act makes Illinois a safe haven for violent criminals. That's why 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys oppose Pritzker's mandatory release of alleged murderers, kidnappers, and arsonists. Prosecutors like Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow.
It's going to be literally the end of days.
And prosecutors like DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin.
We are going to have violent criminals out on the street.
Stop Chicago violence from coming to your town. Vote no on J.B. Pritzker. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
It is 8:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is a service of Salem Surround. Go to surroundchicago.com today. A couple of accident sites to watch out for. Buffalo Grove, Route 83, that's McHenry Road, southbound at Arlington Heights Road. Bloomingdale, accident at Army Trail in Schmolik. Bensonville, accident Irving Park at Church. On the expressways, inbound Edens at 33 Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound, it's an hour 10 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound, it's an hour and 3 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, 51 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th into the Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Morning shower, otherwise warmer throughout the day, and we'll see clouds break for the afternoon. High 79. Currently 68. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know who's just sick about politics in the classroom?
Who?
It's not Ron DeSantis. You know, just cannot stand focus on politics and political activism rather than reading, writing, and arithmetic in the classroom.
Who? Please tell me. Tell us.
American Federation of Teachers Union boss Randy Weingart. She's just sick about it.
You know, very few teachers thought that they were going into teaching to be social justice warriors. But then when they can't teach, I'm a social studies teacher, the Diary of Anne Frank. You can't teach about Louis Bridges. You can't answer questions of children. You have to be mass police. That has been what has created some of the burnout. And that's not parents, that's politicians. Parents just want the best interests, or want the best for their kids, and so do teachers.
Yeah, it's these damn politicians that, are bankrolled and supported by the teachers' unions. These damn politicians won't let teachers just focus on instruction, on the merit, on the substance of the subjects at hand, force them into politics. Like in Kansas, where Pamela Ricard was suspended before she retired this past May for not addressing a biological female student by the student's new name and did not use the proper pronouns associated with the student's gender identification. So that was forced on Pamela Ricard by who? The politicians that are bankrolled by Randy Weingarten, who demand that teachers ascribe to this gender ideology rap. Yeah, well, Pamela Ricard received a $95,000 settlement from the school district. So she had to fight Randy Weingarten's gender identity social justice warriors in order to get a $95,000 settlement after she was penalized for not going along with the politics. So that was at the hands of who exactly? You know, like we saw with Shawnee State and the philosophy professor Nicholas Merriweather there. Yeah. It's being imposed on teachers, but it's not the teachers that Randy Weingarten is talking about, is it? It's the teachers that won't go along with the political left's agenda for K through 12 education, supported by Randy Weingarten and the American Federation of Teachers and the politicians that they underwrite, as I said. Another example, you know, because the parents and teachers are aligned. Randy Weingarten and her teachers, these neo-Jacobins that provide the foot soldiers for Randy Weingarten, they're aligned with the parents. Oh, really? They're aligned with Benjamin Auslander. Benjamin Auslander is a dad in the Treadiffin Easttown School District in Philadelphia, near Philadelphia. They signed a contract 4 years ago with the Pacific Educational Group. We've talked about them before. They're one of the top race hustlers that are going district to district. They've been in Illinois. Out of California, race hustle. Critical race theory, which, of course, Randy Weingarten said is not taught in elementary schools or high schools. Not happening. Interesting. Mr. Auslander wasn't quite sure it wasn't happening, so he wanted to see the materials that the Pacific Educational Group was providing to train teachers, because that's how it goes. You know, they train the trainer. The race hustlers train the teachers to be race hustlers. And, you know, they hate this.
Oh, yeah, it's such a burden.
They're only being social justice warriors because of the politicians or because of favored politicians who then contract with favored race hustlers to train teachers to be race hustlers. And if you deviate from the orthodoxy, then that's the time in which you get in trouble. So Auslander wanted to see the materials. Nope. Public school. Taxpayer dollars. Can I see the materials used in training teachers? Nope. They're copyright protected. Okay. So he said, okay, well, can I come in and see them? I won't reproduce them. Yeah, okay, you can come in and see them. When he tried to record voice memos on his phone about what he was reading, the district official called that a copyright violation. Reading something is a copyright that's being provided at taxpayer expense. That's a copyright violation. So he filed a complaint because the official threatened him with civil and criminal liability if he kept recording, then ended the meeting. He sued this past April. His argument, the First Amendment protects his right to access information about officials' public activities and issues of public debate without retaliation. Interestingly, the race hustlers, the Pacific Educational Group, declined to defend its copyright claim, and in June, the judge in the case vacated a confidentiality order on the training materials. So guess what he found when he was finally able to access them, because he filed a federal lawsuit to get access to materials that are being provided at his expense for his kids, public education. Documents emailed by the Pacific Educational Group to district administrators in advance of various training seminars cite critical race theory explicitly. It's not happening, though. And they certainly don't want this politics in the classroom, says Randy Weingarten, except when they're providing it explicitly. Encouraging participants to deconstruct the presence and role of whiteness in their lives, aspects and assumptions of white culture. You've heard us talk about these before, but just so you understand, the presentation spells out the 5 tenets of critical race theory. That's not being taught, except to the teachers, who then turn around and incorporate it into their classroom. Right. So that's how it gets in. And if it's not for parents like Benjamin Auslander who assiduously take up the fight, then it just goes unchallenged. Keep talking about these same things. And the people in charge of the system keep lying to the primary stakeholders in the system, the parents and the kids. So what is one to do about it? Well, one thing you can do is move to Florida. Second thing you can do is model what DeSantis and Republicans are doing in Florida. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Michael Hartney, who's a Manhattan Institute adjunct fellow, also a Hoover Fellow and Boston College assistant professor, and author of the soon-to-be-released How Policies Make Interest Groups, Governments, Unions, and American Education. Michael Hartney, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So were you shocked to hear about Randy Weingarten's disgust that teachers have been forced to become social justice warriors by politicians?
Well, I am pretty shocked because the American Federation of Teachers just released a poll a few weeks ago, their own poll, where they set out to find out what parents and other citizens think about our current education system. And lo and behold, shockingly, their own poll showed that Republicans own the education issue right now. And not only that, parents were the most dissatisfied when it came to how issues about gender identity and race were being taught. And what they said they wanted more of was reading, writing, and arithmetic. So I don't know if this means that the union's going to close up shop on doing polling in the future or what, but it wasn't exactly what they expected. And I think you're seeing this all across the country. You're seeing it in states where, like Virginia and like Florida, where governors are saying, listen, Republican governors saying, follow us on these education issues. We will plant our flag. What DeSantis did in Florida was really smart. He came out with a 10-point agenda. He said, he asked all school board candidates across the state, who's with me and who's against me on these issues? And he went out, and you know what he did? He won 25 out of 30 of those school board races, which is unprecedented. I've been following this stuff for a long time in Florida, and usually it's the teachers' unions that are the interest group to beat. They won about 20% of the races where they went up against a DeSantis candidate. So you're seeing a lot of muscular gubernatorial advocacy here, which portends well for Republicans in the midterms.
Yeah, it seems to me that this is where all the action is right now. And it's not just because of COVID, but that certainly informed it. All the action is at the executive level, meaning the governor, and at the local level, meaning local government, but particularly school boards. That's where all the action is. And the general assemblies or the state legislatures are sort of serve as echo chambers for who's ever in charge at the executive level.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think one thing that's in some ways unfortunate is, Republicans historically have always been very pro-local control when it comes to schooling. But unfortunately, one of the things that sort of happened in our sort of evolved system of how we govern America's schools is that we really don't allow for a lot of true local control and democracy of education, because we do things like hold school board elections, at odd times of the year when 10% of the voters turn out, and the unions can be counted on to organize their members in those elections. And we make it hard for parents to sort of get information, as you were talking about on the lead-in, about what's going on. So, if it were a fair fight, I would like the chances of parents and the average voter to do well here. But given some of the hurdles they're facing, it's not very easy for them to. So you really do have to fall back on executive leadership in the states coming in and sort of helping people out and say, this is what's going on. Follow my lead here. We're going to actually do something about these issues.
Well, Michael, how did COVID restrictions awaken parents, especially when you look at San Francisco?
Well, I think they looked around and they said, how come, my 55-year-old neighbor can go to the gym after spending the previous night at a casino, but my fourth grader's been locked out of school for a year. That makes a lot of sense. I don't begrudge employees wanting to have safety protocols at work, but I don't think labor leaders in American history really had folks like Sarah Chambers of the CTA in mind. Recall, this is the young woman who was in CTA leadership who took off for Puerto Rico after months of telling everyone just how unsafe it was for little kids to return to school in Chicago, and despite the fact that the Catholic schools right in Chicago had been open since the start of the school year without any calamity. So, I think parents, not all of them. I want to suggest that one of the issues here is that parents are busy. They shouldn't have to monitor their school boards like a hawk to make sure that the school boards are following the science when the science says kids could go back in school. But unfortunately, that's what we saw happen, is that boards were not. They were following essentially a very cautious model. If you look back, people are trying to whitewash history here, but schools were one of the last sectors in our society to reopen. And, this isn't a radical Republican thing. If you looked at Western Europe, if you looked at private schools, they reopened. They were teaching kids in person for most of the year. It was these large public bureaucracies that showed about as much flexibility and creativity as you would expect.
As somebody who's followed this for a long time, how do you read the tea leaves of the exodus from big urban school systems? Now, a couple percentage points doesn't sound like a lot. It's a large number of students when you have hundreds of thousands of students. It doesn't change the dominance of the big urban school systems, but maybe it signals that a transformation is slowly underway.
Oh, it's certainly true. Nat Malkus of the American Enterprise Institute had a nice study out recently showing that the districts that remained in fully remote learning, didn't bring the kids back, have experienced larger declines in enrollment. So there is some just desserts being paid out to places that didn't get their act together. But you're right, it's certainly not enough. And I think one of the things that I would say that I wish I saw a little bit more of on the school choice side is it's great to pass all sorts of laws across the states. I think school choice, I think the research shows that it's a good thing on the whole, charters and vouchers and all these sort of options for parents. But it's one thing to pass those choice laws. It's another thing for families to have actually good choices to choose from. Yeah. So I think people in the philanthropy sector need to be thinking critically about how do we build supply. It's not just a demand-driven issue. You've got to offer it. You can offer choices, but if there's nothing to choose, where are they going to go? So I think that to the extent that we're going to see, I wouldn't use the term revolution certainly, but if you're going to see major changes in the sector, we're going to need to see more choices for families.
Yeah, that's a good point. Michael Hartney, Manhattan Institute Adjunct Fellow, Hoover Fellow, and Boston College Assistant Professor, author of the soon-to-be-released book, How Policies Make Interest Groups, Governments, Unions, and American Education. Michael Hartney, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I guess I heard the ads. That was mainly it. That's when I started. I didn't know anybody else that was taking it, but I just started on it and got through Christmas, and I went to, after New Year's, I went to Arizona to visit my friends that live in Sun City, and I was out walking one day, and I thought to myself, I feel good. I just feel like I'm about 15 again. And, I'm 80-something, so, that's pretty good. I just couldn't believe how great I felt. And every day when I got up, I felt great.
Start your journey to better health. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
Guys, a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. That's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all your levels, not just your testosterone. And they determine the cause of any symptoms you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance, and they check everything, including PSA, your prostate levels, thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month. So make your health a priority. Schedule your health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you. When you do, Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
And now, a special announcement from the Mancini Law Group. Over the course of 4 decades, contaminated drinking water at North Carolina's U.S. Marine Corps base, Camp Lejeune, put hundreds of thousands of people at risk for cancer and other serious illnesses. If you or a loved one lived, worked, or were present at Camp Lejeune for at least 30 days between August 1st, 1953 and December 31st, 1987, and developed cancer or a serious illness due to the base's toxic water supply, you could be eligible for substantial financial compensation. This also applies to individuals who were in utero during the aforementioned time period. Don't just call any toll-free number. Call the Mancini Law Group. They're a quality local law firm that will give your case the attention it deserves. Contact the Mancini Law Group today for a no-cost case evaluation at 773-745-1909. That's 773-745-1909. Again, 773-745-1909. Or online at mancinilaw.com. That's mancinilaw.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we've talked about a lot of heavy stuff today, violence. And
Yeah, we didn't even get to hear about your vacation, your golf game.
Right, it's all boring. But something that ends the show on a high note.
Yes.
A little ditty by Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon, yes, Kevin Bacon, the actor. His Ode to Corn. Unusual topic of admiration, but I think he does it well.
It's corn. It's a big lump with knobs. It has the juice. I mean, look at this thing. It's corn. I can tell you all about it. And when I tasted it with butter, everything changed. 'Cause it's corn.
You in love with corn?
Big lump with knobs. It has the juice. I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah.
It's corn. I can tell you all about when I tasted it with butter. Everything changed.
I'm gonna order corn.
It's corn.
Are you eating it now?
Yeah. I'm afraid Kevin Bacon might like corn too much.
He
But-
seemed to appreciate it a little bit more than his wife. He seemed to have a love affair with the corn.
Well, it's
Look
the...
at it. As he grates it, and then he puts it in his mouth and eats it.
Now I'm thinking about bacon and corn.
Oh.
I'm hungry. Yeah.
I see what you did there. All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning. Go have yourselves a wonderful day. Now let's head into that newsroom. And here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Morning. You haven't lived until you've actually not used butter and used bacon drippings on your corn.
Ooh, that's
You have not lived.
Elotes.
never even heard that.
Elotes at Comiskey. Still the best.
Oh, is that right?
The
Yeah.
elotes at Comiskey are still the best.
I don't know. Try it with bacon. I think you might be surprised. All right, there you go. We're watching developments this morning at the Dirksen Federal Building where the R. Kelly trial is on hold. We'll tell you why. Another alderwoman is announcing her retirement. The Attorney General is suing a large Bridgeview construction company. White Sox hold off the Mariners. Cubs host the Reds. Sky visit the Sun in Game 4 to try to punch their ticket.